Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Candrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are
the Yerky Boys.
Book 40, The Other.
No other parts of speech there, just Book 40, The Other.
You liked that?
Well, I'd like it better if it was released in March 2000.
Wow.
And it was. We're doing it, the big 4-0 this week.
That is what they say.
40. I'm reading this book and I'm going, where the hell is Paul Rudd? Is Leslie Mann around? Because this is 40. I was saying, who ghost wrote this one? Judd Apatow? Because this is 40.
Sorry, I was looking at something else.
Oh, do you want me to say it again?
No, I think it's okay.
Well, okay, the listeners heard it.
Hopefully, maybe.
Anyway, that's pretty cool. I should have done a song this week, but I didn't.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you would, but this is kind of a songy book. But I never know when inspiration will strike. So
it hasn't struck me for a little while. I'm starting to feel guilty about it.
Okay, well, maybe next week.
I've been tired, you know.
That'll be a Megamorph, so you can make a mega hit.
Oh shit!
We're getting ahead of ourselves. That's for the end of the podcast when we spoil that what book's next. But right now, book 4. Do we have any show business before we do this book?
There is no business like it that I know.
That didn't really answer my question.
We do. Yeah, we actually we do. I do have something to share with you.
Uh-huh. Are you gonna
emphasis on share it? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we got an email.
Do it.
Okay. I'm setting it up for the folks. It's fine. We just started the episode. We have plenty of time. We're not going to go long this week. Unless I read this, let's see, selection of 3 emails that were sent from the same person, each within about, all in the span of about 2 hours, each one like multiple paragraphs long.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
This email comes into us it's another repeat writer.
Uh-huh. We
got a repeat. Remember Lane?
I do remember Lane.
Yeah, Lane wrote in
when we talk about things.
Right, Lane wrote in about had some thoughts about Viscera, if I recall, and yes, and also about our tangents. And Lane wrote in again to set the record straight on a few things, and also a couple questions and some other shenanigans too. So there is some good stuff here for Animorphs fans. You're going to want to listen to this. Don't skip ahead, but it'll probably be about 20 minutes until we get to the show.
All right, well let's get into it then.
It's funny. Lane is kind of hoisting on their own petard. You know what I'm saying? Just think it's ironic.
Yeah.
They're bringing about the very thing that they hate.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you gonna read it?
Should I read it? Okay.
I think you should read it.
I don't know if I'm gonna read the whole thing, to be honest with you, because it's quite long. But I will skim through it.
Okay.
Lane writes, "Hey there, Yerky Boys. You may remember me as the oft-mentioned singular Zoomer fan who sent that paragraphs-long email a while back. Well, I have returned with more paragraphs. Yay! Confetti emoji. To start off, I almost emailed you boys with corrections to your assumptions made after your reading of my last email, but I decided that wouldn't be a good enough reason to email again so soon. However, upon listening to your episode, Book 37, Part 1...
our best episode to date,
I have to say that my growing frustration as I continue to listen to it over halfway through has caused me to email again. Was this what you wanted? 3 question marks. Upset breathing out nose emoji. Anyways, to the point of this email. My original plan for this email, this is big, was to correct two main points from my first that you'd assumed. The
Ooh.
Zoomer part, and the idea that I dislike tangents in general in your podcast. As I continue with part 1 of book 37, however, I'm not sure I can quite correct you on the second point so much anymore. Upside down smiley face emoji. First point, I'm flattered that you read my original email as Zoomerish, but perhaps to your disappointment, I am actually a millennial in their 30s. Just another nostalgia seeker who read all the Animorphs series multiple times over in their youth and as an adult. So, unfortunately, we still don't have a Zoomer except for Tim Zoomer.
I think Tim Zoomer's enough, honestly. Like, I feel a sense of relief in a way.
I get that. Lane goes on to make a second point. For the most part, I don't mind tangents too much when they're relatively brief and are at least somewhat related to the content of the book. Heck, I don't even mind personal stories since they give a certain character to the podcast. I think it'd be a lot less fun without any tangents anyways. What I was referencing in my last email was the few times that one of you in particular, guess who, tongue out emoji, has gone on long rants about inconsequential points in the books that don't really need that much attention. Can you guess who before I keep reading?
Does it say, or do we just have to guess ourselves?
No, I think it's pretty clear from an example that is given who they mean.
I don't know. Who could it be?
Examples, Cassie's surgeon role in The Sickness, the fantasy versus sci-fi genre debate. Why not both? I don't even remember that. I don't even know when that is. When did that happen?
Who knows?
And the why are the protagonists writing these books and who are they writing them for? Answer is they're books aimed at children written in only a couple of weeks. I don't think too hard about that. Or don't think too hard about that. Those are what frustrate me more than the personal tangents usually. So it sounds like a lot of this ire is aimed at me. And I refuse to back down. And
yeah,
I will
this was a mistake to tell him that because he's gonna ramp it up just to spite you.
I also completely reject the notion that I'm the only one who rants about inconsequential points. How long did you talk about free will or whatever the fuck happened?
I think every point I've ever ranted about was consequential.
Fair enough. I want to know who the fuck are they writing it for? It matters to me, and I'll never stop harping on it. Now we come to book 37, part 1. Okay? Nearly 2 hours into an episode without any actual book content is driving me insane as I skip ahead in 30-second intervals to find substance. Half a dozen segments of chit-chatting and reading spam emails between ads has almost killed any will I have to continue with the episode, but I shall persist in the pursuit of finding some gold nugget at the end of this tunnel of tangents. Skull emoji. I hope that's not anyone's first episode, because that would also be their last. For anyone who doesn't know what Lane is referring to, this, of course, was the first part of our The Weakness coverage a few weeks ago.
Listen, that we just had a lot to say, is all.
Anyway, we'll get back to that, but then Lane says, now that's all of my chest. I didn't plan on reading all this, but you know what? It's entertaining, so we're reading it all. A question/request. Do you plan on reading the Alternamorphs, Animorphs Choose Your Own Adventure, on the podcast? I'd be very interested to hear how you both fare in trying to survive those books. A Goosebumps podcast reads the Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure books like a D&D session, but I don't think I've heard anyone else do the Animorphs version. I'd also like to hear your takes on the parody book Vegemorphs, The Fungus Among Us. I think there's at least one free PDF copy somewhere online. I think I have it saved somewhere. If you're unable to find it, hit me up if not. I do intend on signing up for your Patreon next month.
Holy shit.
So if you decide to just post those reads and reviews there, I'll be glad for the content either way. Despite my own little rant earlier, I do enjoy your content for the most part. I'm looking forward to listening to more episodes as the series slowly comes to a close. I love the parody songs, letting them down, and the interviews with KA, which definitely set you apart from other Animorphs podcasts. So don't take my own ranting too hard. I'm sure you won't. Wishing you both the best, and thanks for all you do. And then is this a thing? Signs off. You're a them be fan, Lane.
Huh?
Is this a pronoun thing?
That's probably a thing that I've heard before.
All right.
Like a play on NB.
Okay, sure.
You
just to answer this question real quick, yeah, we are going to do both those things. We're going to do Alternamorphs and Vegamorphs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the plan is to do them on the main feed and also to do them probably like very soon after the main series ends. I think that's where we're
I
going to do them.
Yeah, we have a plan out in a spreadsheet. Those are all on the plan. They are coming. I don't know if they're coming before or after the TV show, but we will get to them after we finish the main series at
I
some
think they're
point.
before. Yeah, I think the
Okay.
plan was to just do all the books first and then do the extra media.
Yep. Graphic novels too. We're everything Animorphs related we're doing.
Yeah, and for the most part, we're not going to lock that behind the Patreon. But I don't know about this. I hadn't considered like reading through them alive on air. It sounds like, for the Choose Your Own Adventure one.
I had considered it. I wasn't sure if it would work or not, but I hadn't given it too much thought because it's pretty far in the future.
Maybe that's maybe we could do that on the Patreon and then like talk about it on the main feed or something. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll make a plan. We'll figure something
Sure.
out.
Let us know what you want. We'll have
Yeah,
to listen
right
to this
in.
Goose Buds, by the way, was the name of the Goosebumps podcast. So maybe we'll listen to Goose Buds and and rip them off. Now, Lane wrote in again shortly after that. And
Oh
wrote,
no.
"You got me.
We're going to start the cover at 30 minutes.
Given that I listened to your Book 37 Part 1 episode weeks afterwards, I missed the whole April 1st release date. Either way, a whole episode of tangents for April Fools is clever, if not personally infuriating. At least I'm hoping that was intentional. I skipped the entire last section until the last few minutes to make sure I didn't miss anything important. Glad I didn't. Congrats on all those ad sponsors, though. And you're both a special type of evil for that episode." And then wrote in again one last time when they got to part 2 and said, "I realized I was completely bamboozled, made to be an utter fool, if you will. I shall begrudgingly take your vicious mockery of me in whatever episode you may read this aloud. I could ask you to only selectively read the passages unrelated to the joke, but I believe that request would be in vain. I shall take my punishment accordingly, as I wrote the original message with the impulsiveness of the ADHD-ridden brain that I have, not even waiting for the end of either episode. All that aside, I'm glad you hate Book 37 as much as I do. I have a handful of books that I simply loathe in the Animorphs series, and that I skip whenever I do a reread because they're objectively awful. You've already read most of them, so congrats." Now, they listed out their least favorite and most hated books here, too. Want to hear
Wow.
what they are?
I kind of do, but I feel like you should stop before we get to any we haven't read yet so you don't taint
It's
your.
too late. I read it.
Oh no.
As far as I can tell, there's only one that we haven't read that they list.
Interesting.
The unknown, the experiment, the separation, the mutation, the weakness, the hidden, and the return.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, I liked the hidden and the separation, so like this
Yeah.
does not necessarily mean I'm gonna hate these books.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's some that I would put on that list that they did not put on that list. So we'll
Yeah.
find out. We'll see. I don't know.
I also
Yeah.
don't remember like those first few what they are, so I don't remember if I hate them or not.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the one they listed, the return, that is one I really do not know how you're going to feel about that one. I'm totally in the dark. So
Can't
like
wait.
you personally. So we're gonna see. We'll find out.
It said a lot of terrible books are unfortunately Rachel books, which I don't know what that says about how KA feels about Rachel as a character. Yeah, same. I would say a lot of terrible books are all of the Animorphs, to be fair. Don't let my
Yeah.
list affect your future reading experience for upcoming books, though. Some really good books are coming up, as well as some incredibly bad ones. I'm eager to hear your reactions to certain ones with interesting new characters and old ones that we've not seen in a while. Winking emoji. Might Eric the Chi be returning soon?
He
Something else.
might.
Might Euclid show up again? Something else
Euclid might show up this very book. Well,
I
not
meant to
show up,
mention-
but be mentioned.
Here's the last point. This is it. And I think
Okay,
it's important to read.
Okay.
Another Animorphs podcast, Anadorks, I've heard tell of this one, had an interview with the artist behind the book covers, which I think you'd both find very interesting. It answers some of the questions you've both had regarding how the covers were done and what prompted the artist to do X, Y, and Z, and gives some insight on how the books are made in general. So this was their March 27th episode, apparently. I guess 2024, I guess.
I guess.
Also, as a note, your episodes are actually this is big. Your episodes are actually short compared to how long Anadorks spends on their book analysis. So
The
step it up.
fuck?
Parentheses, JK, please don't. Uh, that'll be all. Thanks for reading through all my foolishness and folly, entertaining my questions and requests. Your foolish fan lane. We did it.
Those losers need to rein themselves in
That's insane.
over at Anadorks. Yeah.
How the fuck is anyone more long-winded than we are?
Yeah. That is crazy. They need to get on our level is what it is.
That is nuts. What the fuck is going on, Anadorks?
Crazy.
Anyway, long email, but I enjoyed it, and I guess this is the first time we've officially really directly addressed the I think we can now reveal that it was, in fact, an April Fool's joke.
I suppose we could.
And now here we are. We didn't get actually we got
Yeah.
not too much feedback from that. So now we know we got the experience. This is what we wanted.
Yeah. Honestly, what the hope on this was that like one or two people that I was personally aware of, such as, the two people who wrote in about it, the one person I know in real life would comment, and hopefully we wouldn't lose traffic. So I don't know if we lost traffic because I don't look at that, but
No, I don't think we. I think it bounced back pretty quick. I think people.
Yeah.
I think people like that episode.
well, they're right to. I mean, to answer your question, Lane, we did have that idea planned for like a month or something ahead of time, but I certainly did think of you because as fate would happen, you wrote in the week before or something.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. So, gotcha. Okay. That's it. You can send your emails to us. We will read them. Even if they take us 20 minutes, we will read them all. TheYerkyBoys@gmail.com. And if you want to be like Lane, sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/TheYerkyBoys. You get bonus episodes every goddamn week. Last week we talked about The Fly, and this week we're doing an Animorphs draft. What's that mean? You're going to have to pay to find out, sucker.
Those are some really good plugs.
Thanks. Nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good show business.
Mm-hmm.
Shall
No
we
business
get
like
into
it.
this book here? Yeah, I know.
No business, I know. Yeah, let's get into this book.
All right. As usual, we shall start with this ghostwriter here. So this is another first, and actually an only. This was ghostwritten by Gina. I don't know if it's Gina Cascone or Gina Cascone or Cascone. She's Italian, I think. So
Cascone is a
Cascone.
Pokemon, I think.
That's Cascoon.
That's how I say it.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. What am I talking about here?
Cascone is some kind of a food you eat.
It does. There's also a Castelia cone in Pokemon. Now they did in the beginning of these books, in the dedication page, they write the name of the ghostwriter. They dedicate it to the ghostwriter. They did misspell her name.
Well,
in this book, it says the author wishes to thank Gina Gascone for her help.
I think it is Cascone, by the way.
Okay, Gascone. Sure.
That sucks.
Yeah, maybe that's why she didn't come back.
they tried to contact her again, but they had the wrong name. How many ones and dones have we had? Is there just one?
I think it's only this one, unless
no. Number 28. The experiment
of course,
was a one-off.
Oh, and 36 and 37. Okay.
Oh yeah, all right. But there's no more one-offs. This is our last one-off, unless you count Alternamorphs.
Yeah, no, and that lady who did the first one of those is like a publisher or something who's like involved. So this lady here has like an actual writing career.
That's nice.
She TV script writer for Dead Time Stories. She wrote for Ghosts of Fear Street, Sweet Valley Junior High. She did a couple of memoirs. She's doing picture books. She's actually Her daughter is also a writer, and they are like working together and stuff. I have a like her personal website or something here, and I did send you a link to that if you want to just look over her
I'm looking
crap
at it.
here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see Unicorn Yoga coming out
Ages
July
5 to 7.
15th. No, wait. That also has the date 2020, so I'm not sure if this has been updated recently.
Yeah.
But look for Unicorn Yoga.
Look for
The-
Unicorn Yoga. But yeah, Briony Williams Shepherd is her daughter, I guess.
oh yeah, you can buy Unicorn Yoga right now. It's available on Amazon. Seems pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, is this the first time we've actually got like a personal website from one of these people?
There might have been one other one, but this is certainly the most fleshed out, seemingly current active author, I think, that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, relatively speaking, 2020 is pretty up to date.
Yeah. Well, that's when the pandemic hit, so.
Yeah, you can schedule school visits, or at least you could before COVID. It's
Yeah.
exciting. All right.
Can I schedule? I don't think I can schedule a school visit. Just because of the court mandated things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for that to happen.
Okay. I mean, I thought it was implied, but you made me say it.
But yeah, frequent author, written dozens of books. This is not some random lady we know nothing about.
All right. So, Gina, we're going to see what you got for number 40, the Big 4-0.
The Big 4-0, let's see what you got. Now, on this cover here.
Marco's turning into a bee.
He turns into a bee.
A honeybee, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Buzz, buzz.
Buzz, buzz, buzz again. Yeah. We had the fly buzzing. Now we got the bee
true.
buzzing.
The insect faces always sure do look like something.
It's I don't care for this cover. Couple problems. Why does he look bored? His expression is like, Jesus, do I have to turn into a bee now? All right, fuck it. I'm a bee, I guess.
Yeah, you can almost imagine the model here. They're like, raise your arms like they're wings, and he's like, oh God, Christ, Jesus, God.
He also looks. I don't know. This Marco looks. I think it's the same model always, right? But he looks a little different on this cover to me.
Does he?
He looks. I don't know. He looks younger, maybe, or something.
Maybe Marco's aging in reverse. I feel like this is not the first time we've said he looks younger.
Yeah, maybe he's just a little baby-faced boy.
This is a Benjamin Button situation here.
And another problem I have. What's going on down at the bottom left here? There's too many feet. There's like 3 pairs of feet all overlapping from the different stages. It's a mess.
He is turning into an insect.
But those are all the same sets of feet. I mean, I do like his tiny little legs in the fourth one where he's flying away.
Yeah, those are good. I like his little stinger. I like his little antenna in the second one.
He is really looking like a brundlefly.
That's true. Do you think they told him to wear a yellow shirt so he looked more like a bee before he?
Maybe. I don't know. They usually don't color match like that, but maybe.
Now, Brundlefly only had the regular human body type, right? The human Hox genes for most of it. He had like standard 4 limbs, whereas he's got a full 6 here pretty quick.
Yeah. It's weird. It's creepy. I don't know. It looks smashed all in on the cover together, just like we always say. I don't like it. We'll have to listen to that fucking Anadorks podcast to find out why they did it this way.
I do like the bee, though. The bee itself.
Sure.
It's a nice bee.
I don't like bugs. I want to smash that bitch, but yeah.
I know that you, I knew you weren't going to appreciate it, so.
Stomp that fucker into the dirt.
Now, the quote here.
Jason Statham's going to come after me because I'm going to fuck his bees up.
Says, this is your brain. This is your brain with a yerk. Any questions?
Oh my god! Wow, they were ahead of the curve on the David Pumpkins reference there,
I
right? Remember when David
I just don't
Pumpkins,
know.
when he would say, "Any questions?"
I just don't know. I
So
just
for Lane and other young people who might be listening, David S. Pumpkins is a popular Saturday Night Live character played by Tom
oh
Hanks.
jeez.
Guest appearance. Although Tom Hanks has been a host, I think he's in like the 10-time host club. You can look it up. And sort of David Pumpkins' shtick was he would kind of come out and say, "Any questions?" And that was always got a big laugh. This is what the people want, right?
Well, thanks everyone for listening. Next time we'll be doing the other part 2.
Personal anecdotes. All jokes aside, the quote is kind of funny, but it's also not relevant to the cover or the contents of the book, so I think it sucks.
Yeah, the quotes are so hit or miss.
This is not your brain with a yerk. That's not what this is.
Yeah. There's like almost no yerks in this book. I'm just gonna minor spoilers, but like like the quotes here, it's so all over the place, and it's not even they're not sure whether it should be just what's the plot of the book or if it should be some catchy phrase. They don't know what the catchy for like I don't know. It's a mess. It's a disaster.
Mess.
It's not good.
Fucking catastrophe. Every week is a fucking 9/11 on the cover. All right. Inside.
Cover, it says busy as a bee ...
Okay. And no dots on the front cover, by the way.
Yeah, no dots on the front cover. I do like busy as a bee. That one I like.
I guess it's fine. Busy as a bee. Right? I guess.
You got a bee.
Yeah.
What is he going to do?
I don't know.
Behave?
Yeah. I wanted something like that. How about this? Could he be any more of a bee?
I feel like that would be, if you tighten that up and got the second B out of there, that would be better.
Could he be? Can you believe it? That would be good.
That would be pretty good.
Unbelievable. That's good. This inside cover, so he's a bee. He's floating around inside of a greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
The flowers all have that weird 90s CG look to them.
Yeah. Some of them I think are supposed to be alien flowers, so
is that what that is?
Weird.
Yeah, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I thought AI did it. Is that an isthil root or whatever the fuck they eat? I don't remember.
Illispar, I think.
Sure, Gasparillo.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Otherwise, pretty boring cover. I mean, inside cover. They're both boring.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I see where you're coming from with boring, but I do think it looks nice.
I guess it's it's colorful. It's pretty.
Yeah. I like the plants. It's better than when it's just like generic parking lot with nothing happening, right?
You couldn't have just put an Andalite in the background. That would have been good.
Yeah, they could have put an Andalite in the background. You're right.
Then I'd be like, okay, there's something interesting here. There's nothing to make this an Animorphs image. It's just a bee. Whatever.
Buzz. What about the alien plant, the like sponge flower thing?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Doesn't that give off Animorphs vibes?
No, I just thought there must be some weird plant. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is just an earth plant. Maybe the weird plants
botanist?
are some other ones that I don't know.
I don't fucking know. All right. I guess we can start the book.
Yeah, we had to kind of rush through that. Thanks a lot, Lane.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Jesus Christ. So once again, we're not starting with a My Name Is. And this is a Marco book, we already been over that multiple times. We're starting this one off. I like, this is a fun little switch up here. He starts off with, who am I? Marco. He puts his own twist on things, It's got a little bit of swag to it. Not Tuan or Kevin or Rashid, Hi, I'm Marco.
Those have got to be the names of Gina Cascone's kids or something, right?
I've never seen Tuan as a name before.
No, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't
Am
want to
I
accidentally be racist.
racist? Yeah, that's was my question.
But yeah, it is I don't know. It sounds like a Hispanic name or something, right?
Yeah, like
Tuan?
I was like, is that supposed to say Juan?
Oh, maybe they got it mixed up and it's maybe what if there's Tuan and Jerry
Oh shit.
to go with Juan and
Oh
Terry?
shit. That's their pets. One has a pet cat and one has a pet mouse. Tuan and Jerry.
Why not a dog? Oh, because of Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Anyway,
Uh,
so what happens in this book?
so okay. All right. So anyway, Marco, he is at home alone. Nora mentioned, and his dad are at a PTA meeting, and Euclid is at the vet recovering from some minor doggy surgery. So Marco's got the place to himself.
Marco kicked the shit out of him.
I was wondering maybe he was getting like neutered or something so he wouldn't be so crazy.
What, isn't this dog like 7 or so? It's not like a young dog. They haven't neutered it or whatever. Go on.
I don't know. Hey, he's sitting at home, he's kicking it, he's channel surfing, and he's watching Unsolved Mysteries when he sees some amateur footage of some kind of weird, is it a unicorn, is it whatever? But no, it's an Andalite, and he's like, oh shit, that's an Andalite on Unsolved Mysteries. And he's like, oh fuck, did somebody get video of Axe? So he turns into an osprey, and he flies off to Axe's scoop where Axe and Tobias are hanging out and watching TV. And Marco tells him what he saw, and fortunately, Axe now records every show on every channel with some kind of, like, proto makeshift DVR thing. So they're able to just replay the clip off the show. And they are able to identify this Andalite as not being Axe, and not being Visser 3, and not being any of the Andalites from Book 38. This is a brand new Andalite we haven't seen before, and this Andalite is a Vicol. Now,
Is that how you're saying it?
I don't know, that's how I'm saying it. Well, how did you say it? Veckel?
Yeah, I guess like Veckel or Vec. I don't really know. It seems like there's a weird way to say it that I don't know, like Vecol or something.
Hmm.
It can't
Yeah,
be
I don't
a
know.
V.
Well,
Whatever.
however you do it, you got to be able to put some stank on it, because Vicol or Veckel is a slur. It's a derogatory word that approximately means like cripple. So
Come on.
this Andalite guy, he is missing the last half of his tail, so he has no tail blade, and that makes him like an undesirable in Andalite society. And immediately we see that Axe is like totally disgusted by this guy's presence and has no respect for him at all. It's like, what is this guy doing showing himself and being out in public with only half a tail? Jesus Christ. They know this guy, like, clearly he can't morph, or he'd have just fixed his tail, but they're like, Visser 3 might still be after him for info or something anyway. Axe doesn't really want to go help this guy. He doesn't want him as an ally or respect the idea of helping him, but Tobias and Mark are like, yeah, no, we gotta go do something about this. All right.
And they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how are we going to say this? Vicol? Veckel? My whole life I've always said Vicol, but
Your
I don't.
whole life. In all the many conversations where it's come up, you've always said it.
It comes up more than you might think if you're an Animorphs fan.
Have you ever said that word out loud before today?
Yes.
To whom?
Anyone
Yourself?
I've ever talked to about Animorphs, probably.
How many people have you talked? This specific book came up.
This book is well known. We're going to find out some reasons why, but this is like one of the big ones that everybody remembers.
All right, you're a
We're
freak
gonna
and
talk
you
about
associate with freaks, but that's neither here nor there. I like the beginning. I like Marco being a lazy couch potato. I felt I related to him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if this is something that you thought of, but immediately I went a different direction than this book wanted me to go, because he sees this thing on the TV and he says he sees a blue blur moving across the
Oh.
screen.
Oh no. Last book, the Helmicron ship was fixed and you're dying in this book. Oh, blue blur. Every book you're just gonna be like
100%. I thought it was the Garrotron. Like
you have you have fucking PTSD. Every book you're just looking for clues. Oh no, oh god, please not this time. Not again.
Who's coming back next? The skunks. The skunks are back. The
Megamorphs
fucking
or Return of the Skunk.
what are the Atlantis people called? I don't remember.
The Nartek.
God, that sucks. Okay. So anyway, I was immediately relieved to learn, oh, it's just an Andalite. Although, I mean, I guess we can talk about that as the book goes on, because we're gonna have more Andalite talk. But it's they did in this book. They remembered that, or at least Marco remembered that they're not supposed to give away the existence of Andalites to the public.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, an Andalite on TV. Cut to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right. I have a note about that right here. Where I was like, oh shit, a blue blur on unsolved mysteries. This is a huge deal. Compared to 9/11, whatever. Like, 9/11 is small fucking beans.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, clearly they even this writer was like, let's just not. No one thinks that happened, right? That book's just not canon. Just fuck it.
Blurry image of Bigfoot. It's a disaster.
Yeah, it's absurd in the context of that book.
It is still a disaster for the Animorphs, because even if you ignore the part where it's like, oh, we don't give a shit about the public, there is still the thought of like, oh, if that's Axe, that means somebody got that footage, and what if the Yerks find him now? So like, it is worth investigating, but yeah.
In this book it makes perfect sense. It's just why they were so flippant about it so recently that it's like, what? I don't know if flippant's the right word, but I used it.
I think it is.
Sure, I liked it.
Rachel's going around being like, boo, when everybody's scared of the animal attacks. Seems pretty flippant to me.
So anyway, there's that. So as you said, Axe has his own TiVo, so they don't have to, as Marco says, send a check to the station to get a copy of it.
Yeah,
what a time!
I mean, I am thinking back to like in book 4 when they first got the news story about the like bit of the Andalite wreckage that Axe was in. They specifically were like, oh, I saw the news segment, so I stayed up like late or some shit to catch it when they reran it on the 11 p.m. news so I could tape it or something. Like they had to explain that.
Yeah.
They didn't have YouTube back then.
I know. Now it's like, just go to their website, go to Hulu or whatever. Like, yeah, go on YouTube. It'll be somewhere. It's wild. A wild time. What's wrong with Axe?
Axe has his priorities in order, though. He starts watching TV and immediately thinks, I need to tape everything on every channel.
He tapes every second of every channel of television 24/7.
Yeah. That's what he does.
Is he watching them later? Is he dumping these tapes? Like, is he ever deleting stuff? Does he just have hard drives full of data? What's going on?
Listen, Axe is a computer whiz. He probably can compress that shit down really phenomenally well. So he's only got like a couple stacks of CDs or something.
I sure hope so. Because if he's using 2000 technology, it's more than that.
Yeah.
He's struggling. I wonder if he hooks Tobias up with like bird porn and shit.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I like how you come in, what is wrong with Axe that he tapes everything on TV. The other part, whatever.
What's the other part?
Well, the other part about how he's a bigot.
Well, we're not, I just wasn't there yet.
Okay. Fair enough.
One thing at a time.
All right. Yeah, priorities.
So Axe uses ableist language.
Mm-hmm.
Including human ableist language.
He does, yeah.
It's... Again, I don't know how much of this we should talk about now. Like, it comes to light more later on. But throughout this book, he
more
does
of the
this.
details are gonna come up. But yeah, like right off the bat, it's not like it. I don't feel like it slowly comes to light that Axe is a bigot. Like the first conversation you have, you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Although it's interesting because thinking back to the book where the guy tried to kill himself, and we commented so much on the
Mhm,
less than sensitive treatment of those issues. But it wasn't. Nobody was like, "Ah, come on, man." I mean, maybe there was a little
mhm,
bit of that, but they were pretty much all the Animorphs were like, "Isn't it funny how he jumped out a window? What a loser!" So it almost feels like I wonder if this signifies sort of a change in culture. That now, honestly, reading this book, I think I wrote this later on, but I wondered if this author it almost felt like this ghostwriter read one of those books and was like, I need to come in here and do something for this series. Like maybe I have a personal connection. This is
mhm,
all speculation. I don't have any idea. But that it read to me almost like they had some kind of particular axe to grind about the poor treatment of
mhm.
disabled people, and came in with that goal to this book, because otherwise it feels, particularly in regards to Axe's character, I will just say for now, it feels a little out of place to me.
Mhm. Yeah, so the take that I had on that was very different. The take that I had on that was
Hmm.
that the idea of like disability rights or something like that was starting to like enter public consciousness, but mental health was just so far away. And so
Hmm.
like, you're
We're
not
still not there yet.
we're still not there yet, but like yeah, it's a lot it was a lot more like, oh, I just didn't even think about the fact that I was making fun of a guy killing himself, whereas here I do know, not necessarily on the issue of disability, but on some of the other subtext that's going to be happening throughout the book. Some of that was stated to be like intentionally planned by Michael Grant. So I know that like they did have a hand in some of the themes here. And it would be a little surprising to me if they didn't intentionally want to talk about disability. Um, yeah, I was interested how you felt about Axe just coming out as a bigot. Like so you're saying it feels a little out of place to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, to me it felt unnecessary and
Mhm.
a little bit. It's not. It makes sense from one angle because we think about the Andalites and they're known to be a very superior elitist species.
Mhm.
So it's not like totally out of left field, but it. I don't know. We've never. It's a little weird 40 books in to just be throwing this in as a character trait all of a sudden.
Mhm.
That feels very like, well, especially when I don't. It seems like this doesn't extend. They kind of allude to this later. I think it doesn't seem to extend to Nothlets, for instance.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. I almost feel like he should be just as disgusted by Tobias as he is by this other guy. Do they say his name yet, or we don't know yet? We don't know.
We don't know his name yet, but we'll find
Uh,
out soon. It's
so
mobile, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe as we go, I don't know. Maybe you'll
yeah.
change my tune or
Um,
something. But I
yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
fully embrace it.
Yeah, I'm interested because it does, if you're not expecting it, it does come totally out of left field and hit you hard. It does work within the context of society and Andalite society and Axe's character. It makes like we already know that Andalite society is very traditionalist, very conservative, very uh interested in like honor and shame and like your proper place. So the idea that something like this is there is reasonable, and Axe has not done that much work in critiquing his own culture. Like he's done enough
Yeah.
to be all like, yeah, no, it's bad when we commit genocide and I should probably support my human friends and not just listen to everything an Andalite says. But he's still very much like, no, no, we're great and our traditions are great and whatever. Um I I like it from the perspective of the whole series. I like it. And one of the things that I like about it is that it's not like easy. It's not just like, oh, okay, so here's a guy, he's got a disability, and here's a guy who hates him, and that guy's a monster, and he's terrible, and fuck that guy. It's more like, okay, here's a guy, he's got some
Mm.
issue, and wait a second, this guy who I've known my whole life, who's a nice guy, who I hang out with, who I enjoy spending time with. Wait, he thinks that? What the fuck? I appreciate that. I like that more nuanced, almost more realistic sense of like, oh shit, I didn't even realize that my friend was problematic or something.
Yeah. That's I get that. That's fair. It's one of those things where it's like maybe if there had just been one instance in like book 24 where he
Uh-huh.
gave a little hint that he sees a guy in a wheelchair and like sneers at him or something.
Yeah.
just like a little I think part of it is just that it feels like they just invented this character trait as opposed to it having been there the whole time and we just hadn't seen it come out yet. Although I
Hmm.
can believe that, I just didn't quite. Maybe I was like too in my head about analyzing the book, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it is also hard when you see something totally out of left field and you're like, this book might end up being the worst thing I've ever read. Should I respect anything that it does? And you just don't know yet. So, but yeah, I don't think that you being like, this feels weird and out of place is super uncommon. I don't know what the general fan reaction to this is, but I have heard a number of people say that, like, in some sense, this book kind of ruins Axe for them because they're like, I love Axe. He's one of my favorite characters. He's a goofy guy. He's kind of autistic coded, whatever. Why does he have to be a giant bigot? Like, what? Why did you do this kind of thing?
I mean, he was already
Um,
a militaristic douchebag.
yeah, to be fair, he has already had the kinds of traits that go along with this. But also to be fair, when you say like, I wish they had had an earlier like this trait had showed up in an earlier book. Yeah, 100%. They definitely weren't planning this. They made up these books one by
Right,
one, and at some
right.
point, Kay Applegate, was saying like, "Oh, I should do a book where I talk about bigotry or disability because I feel like I haven't like touched on those issues hard enough. Let's do it. What if I did it in Andalite society so I can use the lens of another culture to show how it's wrong?" And I guess I'll make Axe a big, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
even if it fits in, it was definitely also a spur of the moment decision.
I could understand if someone saw it as a sort of character assassination because it's almost
Hmm.
just like drawing straws. Like, well, somebody's got to be a bigot, so it'll be Axe. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, why? Come on, but why? You didn't have to do that to him. But
Hmm.
I also do. I do also think that it does make sense in context of Andalite culture. It's not like completely nonsensical. So I'm sort of like neutral on it, I guess. I'm like it's a little bit weird in this book, but I can see it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I will circle back on this later because one thing that I think is interesting is that if you're like, if you wanted to say I think one of them should be a bigot, like
Marco.
Axis, yeah, right, yeah, Axe is
well,
a high
well,
contender, but like
Tobias.
Marco, right?
Tobias is already a racist against birds, but
Yeah. Yeah. You
yeah,
could do
yeah, yeah.
Tobias. You could do Rachel just because she doesn't care, but like you might
Right.
go to Marco. So I do
It's
think
his
that's
book.
interesting, but it is his book. I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
Um
we can talk about that later too, I think.
yeah, because at this point Marco's just like, what the fuck's your problem, Axe? But he doesn't really get into it. So eventually
And
we'll get into it.
And wouldn't it make a lot of sense too? Like Marco's the guy who's always making the jokes, if he's like making insensitive jokes and he's like,
Hmm.
come on, it's just for fun or whatever.
Hmm.
You like kind of do talk about that later. All right, whatever. We'll,
Yeah.
we'll get
I
there.
think I might have brought this up before, but in her Everworld series, Kay Applegate has uh like her she has a joke character, Christopher, who's the Marco, and he's always telling jokes, and she's got a black character, and he's always like, Christopher, you can't be telling all those racist jokes, that's racist. And Christopher's like, oh come on man, I'm just playing around. And there's like a whole plot
Nice.
line where they have to like deal with these neo-Nazis, and Christopher's like, why do these guys think I'm their friend? Why do they like me so much? And he has to be like, oh shit, is it because I'm always making racist jokes? Oh shit, maybe I'm a bad person.
Been there.
Right.
Kind of reminds
But
me of the Dark Tower.
how so?
Well, there's all the honky muffas.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
And Eddie is like the Marco of the Dark Tower.
That's true. That's true. All right.
All right.
They are like, we better hurry and check this out before it gets dark. Tobias just kind of knows where this video was shot because he knows all the landmarks because all he does is fly around all day. So he just takes Axe and Marco straight to where the video was shot. They get there, there's no signs of a struggle or anything weird, so Axe and Marco demorph, and immediately a possum near them also demorphs into a huge Andalite. And when I say huge, I mean like really fucking huge. Like, instead of being like, oh, he has dainty, weak arms, he's built like a fucking linebacker. Instead of having a body like a deer, he's got a body like a horse. Like, this guy's built. He's enormous. And,
Hot.
yeah. And even though both Marco and Axe have demorphed, so Marco is a human here, he seems to be looking at Axe. He's barely noticing Marco. Tobias comes in and tries to attack him, but gets like knocked out of the sky. Axe tries to fight him and just is immediately fucked up and put on the ground and with like a tail blade at his neck because this guy's a badass. This guy seems to think that Axe is Visser 3, but then Axe introduces himself. They have a conversation, and we find out that this gigantic Andalite is named Gefinolen Estrif Valad. Valad?
Gesundheit.
And the Vigol is named Myrtle Iskar Elmand.
Yep.
And Gefinolen does not seem very happy about Axe's attitude about the Vigol guy, Myrtle. We find out both Myrtle and Gefinolen are like big time war heroes. The Axe knows their names. These are like big deal guys. And they're like, shit, you should help us fight the Yerks. And Gefinolen is like, nope, I'm not doing shit. All I do is care for Myrtle now that he lost his tail, and I'm not helping you. Fuck off. And he leaves. All right.
Can we just, for my sake mostly, and also, I can't believe this doesn't come up in the book. Can we just call him Gaff?
In my notes, he is Gaff.
Okay, yeah, great. Mine too. Because it's like, come on. Clearly he's Gaff. We're not fucking Gefinolen. I'm not saying that every time. Get out of here.
And Gaff and Mert.
I guess they don't know him well enough. They can't just be casual like with Axe, but...
Yeah. Andalites don't do that with each other. It's just the humans that call him Axe.
I'm surprised their names aren't like Arbo and Orbot, or,
Those are some good Andalite names.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Where do we start with this Andalite here?
Yeah. So, okay, we just had an Andalite book. We met a whole cast of Andalites. Now we have another Andalite book. We're meeting a new Andalite, right?
Yeah. I mean, and this is something that, again, is more one of those larger book thoughts, but it is really like, didn't we just do this? We're 2 books later, it's a new Andalite shows up.
Mm-hmm.
We just did this.
Mm.
It's different now. It plays out very differently.
Yeah, the book is very, very different, and I mean, the thing that I am thinking of here is that it feels like we're really leaning heavily into the like, all right, we're gonna do like a what's gonna happen when the Andalites come to the rescue arc plot type thing, right? Like, we had started seeing references to we're waiting for the fleet. Oh, the fleet aren't here. Are they gonna get here on time? Are they not? And now we're starting to see, okay, book about new Andalites. Okay, book about new Andalites. Like, we're kind of, I don't know, it feels like we're trying to get to a point where we're talking about Andalites now.
Yeah, I like it. It does. It also, for me, kind of diminishes the the impact of it. Because, I mean,
Hmm.
2 books ago, I was like, holy shit, Andalites! And now I'm like, oh yeah, another one? Okay. Like, I guess they're just around now.
Hmm.
I guess they're just here. Whatever. Where's the
Yeah, well,
fucking Elemist? Where the fuck's the Drode?
part of the story now is the Andalites.
And I mean, when we find out, we don't know how they got there yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's that. But you know, I'm asking questions now too. I'm like, are the floodgates just open now? Like,
Hmm.
did this Andalite, like? There's only 2 of them.
Yeah.
Did they fly here, or what's going on with Z space right now? Did it like realign yet? How long does it take? Like, is that still a thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it has realigned and they should be coming here, but that's why they're all in the Rakam Garu
Rackham
conflict in nine
Guru
Rakam Garu, yeah, in Nine Sifter.
in 9 Sifter.
Yeah, not
This is
nine sector or something that might make sense. They're in
probably
Nine Sifter.
home of the 5, 9 Sifter. And I also like that Marco. I forget what part of this it is, but he recites all the names of the other. Oh yeah, he's like, oh, this guy's bigger than Axe's
Oh, yeah.
brother, bigger than Aloth. He says all their full names. I'm like, good for you, Marco, for memorizing every Andalite name and writing it out
Yeah.
for us. That's good research.
Yeah, good job, Marco. I think at one point I read on Seropedia or something that at one point they misspell one of the other Andalites' names.
I mean, I'm sure.
It's too hard.
They do. This encounter is a little bit. I guess has like a threatening stance when they meet
Mhm.
him, but they kind of do jump right to like they don't even try talking to him. They just get
Yeah.
right into a fight. It's a
Yeah,
little
no,
weird.
they do. Yeah, because I feel like he is definitely looking to attack, but at this point, but yes, pretty sure the like first act of aggression is Tobias.
Yeah, and then he just like thwap
Yeah,
knocks him out. Fuck you,
boom.
bird. Yeah, it's like just say hi. Like you're an Andalite on Earth. Shouldn't this be like what? Well, at first he seems to think that Axe is Visser 3, right?
Yeah, yes. At
Which
first, he seems to think that.
also confuses me because later on they're like, "Is this guy working with Visser 3?" I'm like, "Didn't he think you were Visser 3?" So it doesn't seem like he
Yeah.
is. So why do you think that? But yeah, I don't know, and then they don't know about Axe. No, I guess we do find out how they got here, right? Did they say it in this part? Did we get
I
there?
don't remember if they say it here or later, but they do at some point. They say basically,
Yeah,
what
they say it
happened.
here.
They
Say it here.
were on the dome ship, right?
Yes.
There's more details, but they were on Axe's dome ship, and they also survived the crash. It's just that Myrtle got hurt, so Gfinlin is just like, I'm helping Myrtle now. I'm not. That's all I'm doing. So they've been here on Earth this whole time.
So I mean, you know how I feel about this.
Yeah, I was wondering if how you felt about it, because like it's a little different than the Nartek because you're not being like, oh, well, the Chi have always been here since the Egyptians, the Nartek have always been here since whatever. Well, these guys only showed up at the beginning of the story, but they have always been here. I wasn't sure how you were going to react.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
Mhm.
It's just like okay, it's just another thing. There's been these 2 like how did they I feel like later they say they were in separate ships or something, but
Yeah, they like
here
crashed into each other or something. They like
but
locked wings.
here he just says we were on the dome ship. I
Hmm.
don't know exactly what. Maybe there's ships within it or near it or something, but it's just like how did they not
They
what
their
have they
fighters
been
crash
doing
landed.
this whole time? Well, one of
Gfinlin
them,
has been caring for Myrtle this whole time.
yeah, but they never. Axe sent out messages in dreams, and Cassie got it, and neither of them.
Myrtle is a Vikol. What's Gfinlin supposed to do? Hey, any Andalites out there want to help me take care of my Vikol buddy over here?
I don't. Well, how about. He knows about Visser 3, right? Like, is he aware of the Yerk invasion?
Of course he is.
He's never tried to help? I don't
No,
know.
he gave up on that. We'll get into why later.
Okay.
I think that this is not a concern, but only because I think this is a reasonable question right now, and it's one the Animorphs have right now with the story. But I do
Yeah.
think that I don't have that concern given what we learn about these two later.
All right. Well, maybe you'll convince me.
I don't know.
I don't like it's too many. If you're gonna give me a this thing was here the whole time, like you got to really sell it to me well and earn it for me to accept it. And
Hmm.
so it's just I just think I'm predisposed to be kind of like I don't like
You're
that
immediately jumping
device.
out on that. Maybe kind of like how in book 11 I immediately jumped out when it didn't happen and it didn't matter, but that didn't seem to bother you.
When what didn't happen? I don't even remember.
The whole plot of book
Oh,
11.
when it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and also because they just again, it's like fresh. The wound is fresh from the Nartek that I'm just seeing like what's next. Like
Yeah.
who's gonna be
Listen,
what
if
thing is
you
gonna have always
try
been there.
to judge every book here based on the worst books in proximity to it, then you'll never enjoy a book again. You're
But
just going to have to deal.
I can't just ignore them. I have to take this all into account as
Why
I'm
can't you
reading it.
go into the bad books and be like, ooh, maybe it'll be great this time?
Well, I always do. Of course, I'm doing that. But I'm I'm not even saying like, oh, this book's gonna suck at this. Like as I'm reading it at this point, I'm just like, I just don't like.
Mhm.
I just don't. It's just too much. It's just too many things. What's next? I don't know.
You don't like lore?
Yeah, but, well, I don't like lore when it feels like they're inventing the lore after the fact, and you're supposed to be like, whoa, this thing was here the whole time. Like, well, no, it wasn't. They just decided it was. It's not like if you go back to book 4, there's a little clue that there was like some equipment missing from the ship. Like that would be cool.
I think
If
it's fine because they listen, these guys they decided fuck it, we're done, we're too badly injured, we're going to hole
fuck,
up
they're
and just
assholes. Maybe I just fucking hate
Mm,
them then.
I don't know about that. Well, that might make you a bigot, John.
Well, I won't deny it. Should I?
Uh
Oh, maybe I should. Yeah.
maybe
I'm
you
not a
should.
bigot. I'm not a bigot. I'm not a bigot.
We have another skanky alert here.
Oh yeah. They say they say skanky. Yeah.
Yeah, they say skanky. Again, I don't think they know what skanky means.
It meant something different back then. I think.
Maybe it did.
I think it must have. They just use it like sketchy. We've
Yeah,
said
or
this
like
before, but
gross or slimy.
yeah, it's
I don't
weird.
know.
I also am confused. He also says Visser 3 will be here at any moment, and
Yeah.
they split up. So, was he there then? Like, did he
Yeah, I mean,
come?
like, it's kind of weird. I can sort of reconcile that, but it is a little weird. It doesn't work as well as it should.
And especially, yeah, like at that. I mean, we find stuff out later on, I guess, but
Mhm.
it doesn't. Well, that makes it make even less sense because again, he thinks Axe is Visser 3. How did he? I don't know. I'm confused about some of this stuff, but whatever. Well, it'll maybe make more sense later or
There's
less
reasons
sense.
why he might think Axe is Visser 3, just like there's reasons why he didn't pay any attention to Marco. Whatever.
Yes, and which I did also write down, but that is explained later. So,
Yeah.
right,
I
we'll
think
get
it's the
to it.
same reason he thought Axe might be. Anyway,
All right.
so yeah, so Marco, Tobias, Axe, yeah, they're like, fuck this, we're not just gonna let this guy walk off. So they morph and follow him. There's like a bit where Giffenel and Gaff stops in a cave to turn into a human, picks up some clothes, and they follow him home from there. They find
Except
out
that
that
first they're like, "Oh, who's that random human?" Oh well, let's keep
yeah,
going.
no, it's pretty fucking stupid. Yes. Um, yeah, no, they find out that Gaff has taken a human morph. I don't know if he morphed a guy and killed him, or if he just made a new identity entirely. But this guy is H. McClellan, or H is for Henry McClellan, and he lives in a small neighborhood near the university. Um, Anyway, the Animorphs all meet up to discuss their plans with regard to this, and they're like, "What's up with this guy? Why'd he just let us go? Why didn't he care about Marco? Why did what's he thinking about Vista 3? Why doesn't he care about the fact that the fleet is over in Rakamgaru? And why doesn't he care that Axe knows about that? Why doesn't he give a shit about it? What's going on with this guy? Right? Is this guy is he an ally maybe? Is he a traitor? Is he a yerk? What's going on? So
sorry, I'm choking over here.
so
Keep going.
thank you. So the plan, they got to know what's up. Marco and Axe basically are going to, since he already knows Marco and Axe, they're going to show up at his house tomorrow while the others all fly back up. All right. I think we stop here, I guess, just for a moment. We can talk about, do you want to talk about this dumb cave?
Yeah, I don't know. The whole chase sequence, all I kept thinking was, somebody go get Jake. You idiots don't know what the fuck you're doing without him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Jake does seem a little bit mad at Marco. Like when they're in the barn, he is kind of like, yeah, I'm glad you came and talked to me about it now. I don't know why you went and did that without me. I notice he doesn't reprimand Axe or Tobias. But,
Yeah, well, Marco's
Axe could
his
probably
boy.
afford to be a little more disobedient, and who knows what the fuck Tobias thinks anyway.
Tobias is just yeah, whatever. Tobias is whatever. Marco does throw a little shade at Jake. Not only to us. I think he calls Jake kind of basic AF, as Lane might say. When they first
remember this part.
When they see Henry McClellan, he's like, "Oh, he just looked like a regular, normal ass guy, the kind of guy Jake might have been if all this shit didn't happen." I don't know. It felt like a little bit of an insult. Like he just there's nothing remarkable about him at all except his total and complete averageness. And says the kind of guy Jake might have become.
Okay, I was going to say that doesn't sound too much like an insult. You might be reading it wrong, but you're right when you say it out loud.
Yeah, it's a little
I hear
it. Like, yeah, Jake is just generic white guy number 7. It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're probably right, Marco. But, didn't have to say it.
Yeah, yeah. The fucking this part, I do think that, and I'll just say some of the parts of this book I think are really great and I really like, and a couple parts I think drag. I do think this part where they're following him home is like a chapter too long. Like as much as Lane hates it when we nitpick, like, oh, it doesn't really matter that they were stupid about that cave. It's like, yeah, that's kind of my problem. That whole part where they followed him to the cave, they could have just been like, he morphed human and walked to his house. It didn't feel, I don't know. And I feel like that's kind of a recurring problem. There are parts of the book that drag and parts that are good.
Yeah. I guess, it was my first time reading it. I was kind of like, oh, what's going on? I guess I'm caught up in the mystery, so I didn't feel the dragging too much. I was more just questioning, like, how the fuck does he have a job? Like, I didn't even think about where did he get the identity from.
He works at that university as a particle physicist, we find out later.
So it's like, well, how did he get an ID? How did he get hired? How does he demorph every 2 hours? Like, how does an Andalite survive like this in public? It seems very difficult.
Given that Axe is a kid who didn't pay attention well in school, and he seems perfectly capable of just kind of like fucking around with all these systems, I do fully believe that if he wanted to, Gefinolen could like set up a fake identity and like give himself credentials and then just go in and be like, yeah, I mean, like, particle physics, that's like first grade shit, whatever, I can do that.
Sure.
I just have to pretend to be dumb. But it is a thought that, I also do think that maybe not every Andalite would be moral enough to construct an identity whole cloth instead of just, kill a guy and take his place. That's a lot easier.
Seems like maybe the only logical answer is that he just walked into it. It's like, did he have this house built? Did he go in the real estate market and like tour homes and buy one?
Yeah, that's what he bought the home.
It's like just so weird. I guess. I mean,
even if he did buy the home, he definitely had to steal the money, right?
Yeah, I mean, or he like finds a computer and just like hacks a bank account or something. I guess, but
yeah, that's called stealing money. If it's not physical money.
I thought you meant specific, like from I don't know what you meant, but I don't know. It's just there's a lot of it seems very there's a lot of questions they don't even ask. They're just like, ah, he lives in that house.
Hmm.
Like Axe has to
Listen,
live in the woods.
Alan Fangor did it.
Yeah, but Alan Fangor, the Elemist, did it for him. He didn't like do it by
I don't know that
himself.
he did. I think maybe they just. Actually, I'm not sure. They made a new world out
Well,
of the Time Matrix. I don't know if they gave themselves the job with the Time Matrix or if they just
I don't
figured it
know.
out.
But also
Yeah.
he was a Nothlit. So he didn't have to worry about fucking I got to go to the bathroom every 90 minutes to make sure I don't get stuck like this forever. Like, I don't know. That's the part that's the hardest. And because Visser 3 doesn't have to be out in public and neither does
Hmm.
Axe, but this guy's like going to a job and shit. What the fuck's he doing?
This
Whatever.
was David's plan. He was going to take Sadler's life by doing the same thing.
Lane loves this conversation. Sorry, I'm not just
uh,
going to blindly
now-
accept whatever Nina Cascone tells me, okay? Gina, sorry,
uh,
Gina. Go on.
whatever. You're not any more wrong than K.A. Applegate.
Thank you.
I mean, okay, so this one, once again, we have a mystery with our Andalite book, right? Um, this one is a little bit different. I do feel like the last Andalite book was a lot more like, oh, you've got like a large cast of characters. You've got this very convoluted kind of like, ooh, plans within plans because some of the Andalites are deceiving some of the other Andalites and you're trying to get through and they're planting clues about what it could be. Whereas this one, it's a lot more just like I present a mysterious figure and then there's like a midway twist, like partway through where you're like, oh shit. Um, so
Yeah.
it's not like a full mystery, but it is a little mysterious.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wondering how the hell is this possible? Where did they come from? What are they doing? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I meant mystery more in the sense of like, what's his deal? What does he want?
Yeah. That's
Yeah, but
that was all wrapped up in there too.
okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right.
Uh, yeah. I mean, it does feel like I guess you just can't because of their format. You can't always do this, but I guess that now is when I'll say, why is this a Marco book?
Hmm.
Doesn't
Yeah,
feel like it is.
I'm not. I had some thoughts about that I wanted to get to more toward the end, but
Okay. We can
sort
wait.
of, yeah, I thought about it, right? Which does the fact that I thought about it says something because sometimes you have books where you're just like, well, obviously this is a whoever book,
Right.
but
'Cause, I
so,
mean, at this point, obviously with Andalites, you're thinking Axe, but they like just did him.
uh-huh.
And I'm also noticing like there's a lot of Tobias in this book too.
Yeah, this could
That
have
I
been a really good Tobias book, honestly. It might have been a
or
better Tobias book.
and then you have like the ableism thing kind of feels like Cassie's department.
Yeah. So I
I
actually
don't
was
know.
thinking I think Cassie would be specifically a bad fit for this book
Mm.
just because Cassie would come in and be like, "Oh, well, yes, of course I am the good person here," but then like all the Animorphs kind of are, so there wouldn't really be like conflict.
Well, notice she
I don't know.
doesn't really say that ever in this book. She never. Marco is the
Yeah.
one who does it,
Yeah.
not Cassie.
That is interesting. Cassie is more of the peacekeeper. She's not calling people out. She's just trying to patch things up. Yeah, well,
A Jake
we'll
book
see when
too.
we actually have conversations about it. Yeah, but
Yeah, that we're not having right now at all. Let's continue.
listen, we don't know what happened yet. We can't talk about it
We don't know what happened.
yet. All right. So next day, right? Marco meets up with Tobias to scout out the house. Um Gaff has gotten a call at work and rushed home early. Marco like swoops in as a bird to try to get a closer look, and he gets zapped by a force field. And Gaff sees him and pulls out a shredder and is like, "Get the fuck down here, or I'll kill you." So Marco lands and demorphs. Axe shows up, being like, "Ah, no, stop!" There's a bit of a confrontation. Um, Axe says, "Oh, our prince sent us to speak with you," and Gaff wants the prince to show up and talk himself, but eventually settles for just talking to Axe and Marco. Um, Gefinland shows them both around his house. It's like super nice with like all the modern tech. It's like clean and tidy, whatever. There's like a private quarters with like a bunch of tech stuff there, but they don't see Myrtle anywhere around there. They also get to check out his greenhouse where he does all his Andalite gardening. And Axe and Gaff share some Ilsipar root there, while Marco acquires a bee because he notices there's bees, and he's like, this might be an opportunity for old Marco. Anyway, they leave, and Gefinland is like, next time, invite your prince. And Marco's like, yep, sounds good, we'll tell him, before Axe gets the chance to tell him Jake's a human.
So why is Marco here? Because it's his POV.
Yeah. Well, in this particular situation, Marco is here because Gefinland already saw him. Jake's like, well, he's seen Marco and Axe, so Marco and Axe should go in.
But don't they have a conversation right before this where they're like, all right, well, we have to go to school. Tobias and Axe don't have to go to school. Marco does, but Marco, you go too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then there's like a bit where Marco's like, hey, I cut school early because fuck it. And Tobias is like, I don't know that you should do that. But yeah.
What? Who the fuck are you, Tobias? You fucking cut school completely. Even before you were a bird, you weren't fucking going to school. Yeah, so Gaff just full on fires a shredder at a bird in broad daylight.
Mm-hmm.
In his greenhouse with transparent glass all around it.
Mm-hmm.
He has never been discovered by the Yeerks.
Presumably here's the thing.
He does have a force field.
He was in Human Morph. Maybe he was in Human Morph. Yeah, he has a force field.
I thought they said, I see an Andalite in the greenhouse.
I think you're probably right. They probably did say that.
Yeah, so he's got big fences or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I was curious at this time. I did wonder, is there a Yeerk in him? Maybe I think they say that, but I was like, is there? Because he's acting pretty weird.
Yeah, they do bring up that possibility that there might be a Yeerk in him. He is acting weird. He's got some spasms and stuff going on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Can we also just say this? I feel like this is subtext. Maybe it's intentional or not, but Gaff and Myrtle are a gay couple.
Yeah. So I was gonna wait till the end. What I was gonna do was wait for you to bring it up, and if you didn't bring it up at the end of the book.
Yeah, well, this was right here was where I was like, oh, they are in love.
Yeah, this is lovers. The Gay Andalites book. The reason I said at the beginning, people talk about this book a lot, and the reason is because this is known as the Gay Andalites book. This is the one with the gay Andalites.
I love that Friends episode.
Yeah. Like, you say it's subtext, and it is subtext.
I mean, it's extremely... it's not, obviously.
When I read this as a child who would have been 10 years old, I knew they were gay, even though it was the year 2000.
I guarantee you I would not have. So, I don't know if that says something about you or me, but...
I was definitely like, no, these two are in love.
I don't think I knew what homosexuality was until 2021.
But you still knew what love was, right?
Like when I love cookies?
What could I do with the cookie?
Cinnamon butter?
Yes, and yes, Michael Grant did say later that yes, that was intentional and they did it on purpose, but it's pretty obvious it's intentional and they did it on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I picked up on it. I was like, for sure, but I still feel like
people picked up on it.
I still feel like it's pretty, the only real thing you have to go on is like, well, they live together. They care about each other, but these are things you could, if you wanted to, hand wave away and argue that they aren't explicitly a gay couple. It's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that that's what people know this book for, because I feel like that's such a, it's not focused on at all, in my opinion.
Well, what you don't understand, then, I guess, is weird antisocial nerd fan fiction
Right.
.net culture.
Right.
Because yeah, I guarantee you, it's just like, oh shit, they're gay, they're gay.
Guess who's got some new fan art to draw? Yeah.
Right. There are some lines later on in the book that seem pretty explicitly like we're talking about. Come on, I know what you're saying here.
I do wonder.
But
So now in Andalite culture, if this isn't canon, Michael Grant
mhm,
says it's canon.
mhm.
We fuck cripples, but give free love. Like what are the boundaries here for Andalites? I mean, I guess it's not shouldn't be 1-to-1
Yeah,
with human biases, but it is kind of interesting.
it's not necessarily 1-to-1 with human biases, but it's not necessarily not either, because like that would offer an explanation for why throughout this book, Gefinolen spends the whole time being like, I have to care for Myrtle because he's my friend. He's my best, closest friend. That's why I've devoted my life to taking care of him and living with him. We're just
He does get
friends, is
real
all.
mad when Axe is mean about him.
Oh yeah, he gets fucking pissed.
Yeah. So yeah, no, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's in. I can see it. It's in
yeah.
there. It's not in there.
So knowing that subtext,
Mhm.
can I say this house is kind of gay? There's a couple parts in here where Axe is like, or not Axe, where Marco's like, what's going on with this? Everything's so neat and clean. The pink silk upholstery. Nobody's going to believe two guys live here.
They do. There are like multiple times when he talks about two guys.
Yeah.
Like a couple of bachelors.
Oh, look at how nicely. Nora would love this kitchen setup. Yeah.
It's just straight out of Martha Stewart or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll get there at the end of the show. Yeah, and I mean this also does improve. So they talk about their origin story,
Hmm.
that they were fighter pilots that came up in the academy together. And I immediately
That's
said
what they're calling it.
I want a Top Gun movie. That's
Oh shit! Yes.
and I mean, you've got, just like Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer in that movie, you've got the homoerotic tension.
Yeah.
Right there. That's something I want to see.
Oh shit! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Gimme. Write that fanfic.
When we have the the way that the Star Wars movies they tried to do and then they stopped because nobody liked it, but when you just have like Andalite Top Gun, an Animorphs story directed by Taika Waititi or something, that's how I envision this. I think that'll be
I
good.
would watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do gotta say, speaking of fan fiction for like the third time in this segment, when we were doing our fanfic episodes, this was one of the books I was really worried you were gonna spoil for yourself. When we were doing the like, oh, let's do like romance, I was like, is he gonna stumble onto Myrtle Gefinolen gay sex porn?
I stumbled not. Did not come across. Well, yeah, I did not. I mean, for the non-canon, I was also specifically like going with. I was looking up, filtering by characters that I knew. So
okay. So
yeah,
it worked out.
I didn't see any of that. Now we're gonna have to do a whole episode just about them.
Like search deviant art for Myrtle. Not moaning Myrtle.
No. Although,
well, yeah.
Give Gaff a chance.
Yeah. Now we learn a little bit more about Myrtle's situation as well. There's like a whole thing where Gaff is like, I blame myself because I was the one who fucked up and got us into a crash. There's like a whole thing here where Marco's like, where is that Myrtle guy anyway? And both Gaff and Axe are like shocked because vehicles don't go out in public. And to quote Axe, his isolation is the only dignity he has.
Which I wonder, though, how much of that might be how Myrtle feels, too.
Oh, yeah. I 100% think Myrtle feels that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's very drilled into him.
This also feels very Klingon to me, this part. That Myrtle's, like, deprived of a hero's death That's that's a big like, oh, you want
Yeah,
to die with honor and not be a, you
yeah.
know,
Now, that is a line out of here.
yeah,
Because there is a good exchange where Axe says Myrtle was deprived a hero's death, and Gefinelin responds, "I am happy Myrtle is alive."
yeah.
So I
And then
like
Axe is like,
like
fuck
that. Once
you.
once again, Gaff is not having any of this shit. That's his gay disabled lover.
Yeah, that's right. That's his queen, and he would do anything to protect her or whatever that
Yeah, the
copy pasta is.
crazier than he was. Yeah, all that.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I want fan art of them as the Joker and Harley Quinn.
Sure,
um,
why not?
yeah, why not? But of course, Marco is a progressive king. We stan.
Of course, yeah. Marco's great.
He
He has
says
no flaws.
you Andalites need some serious attitude adjustment when it comes to the differently abled. Even maybe this is maybe even less believable than the axe part of it. Not that I think Marco
Mhm.
is like rude to the disabled, but I don't know that I've ever seen him as
Yeah.
being a crusader for this cause. It's a bit weird.
It's maybe reading too much into it, but it wouldn't be crazy to say like or to wonder, you think Marco is like the one who calls Axe out the most because he's like, I'm the one who always says the insensitive stuff. So like if I don't call it out, does that make me a bad person? Like I gotta kind of just like it's okay that I made all of those jokes because I'm calling Axe out on it. When it's serious, I don't do it. See?
Yeah, that could be it. That's a strat.
It is a strat for sure.
He acquires a bee.
Um, he does acquire a bee. He doesn't. He's kind of stupid,
Well, yes.
and he's like, "Oh, I gotta remember everything I know about honeybees. Do those sting? Is that the type of bee that stings? I don't remember if honeybees sting. I hope they don't. Ow! It stung me. What
Yeah, I might not
the?
remember either. I don't know. What I don't know about
the
bees.
you don't know that honeybees sting?
I'm like, I would guess they probably do. I don't know.
Hmm. Interesting.
Look, I don't fucking care about bugs.
Did you just like never play outside as a kid?
Well, I'd just be like, oh, that's a bee. I don't know what the fuck they look like. Their honeybees are the fuzzy ones, or is that a
Like
bumblebee?
the big fuzzy ones are the bumblebees. The honeybees look like the bee on the cover here, kinda.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I would assume they sting, but I wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
if you asked me like gun to my head, I'd be like, oh, I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, sure, I guess, but if you were if you were like to yourself, just like, oh, I should go catch that bee, would you be like,
Why would I ever
oh, I
say
wonder if
that?
that one's one of the ones that stings, or would you be like, I'm probably gonna get stung here, right? I don't know.
I
It seems kind
guess.
of dumb.
Yeah, I guess. I just think now you're being mean to me.
God, Marco's so dumb he doesn't even know that bees are eusocial.
Well, we know what kind of social you are.
Uh,
I like that Marco goes. He's like, "Oh, B, I gotta take my chance and acquire it right now while he's not looking," as if he couldn't go literally anywhere else outside after leaving and get a bee.
yeah,
Like, it must be this bee now.
yeah. Yeah, I
You
mean,
could make
it
an
is clever of
argument
him.
that maybe like the bee sent, like they wouldn't let him in the
Mhm.
hive if they thought he was from a different hive. I don't know if that's how bees work,
That
but unlike
is
you
how
probably know because you're the
that
fucking
would be
bee
how bees work,
expert.
but I don't know that it would matter to him getting in here
Hmm.
because, like, this is a greenhouse, not a hive.
Yeah, well, he ends up going in the hive, but
Yeah, well, probably wouldn't if he were from the wrong hive or something. I don't know.
anyway, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. How do you feel about Ilsapar root?
I like that. I guess it's delicious.
Yeah, they fucking love it.
How do they just step on it? Is that what they
Yeah,
do?
that's how they eat.
That's stupid.
Gaff is like, you want some Ilsapar root? And Axe is like, oh, fuck yeah. And then they step on it. we don't find out yet, but based on some later information we're gonna get, I'm pretty sure that Ilsapar root is it's supposed to be pot. Like that this is like
All
the
right,
edibles or
I can
something.
get with that. There's some when you just picture an Andalite grazing in a field. There's something very beautiful and graceful. Their hooves taking in
Mhm.
the nutrients from the grass. But then when I picture him just like taking his hand and just grabbing a stalk of something and throwing it in the ground and stepping on it, it's like
Mhm.
this guy's a weirdo. This sucks. He's a loser.
Yeah, well, imagine some like perfect specimen of a human like holding up a I don't know, a drumstick and magnificently tearing off a bite like a primal caveman type or something. And then imagine you hunched over like in your bed trying not to get crumbs everywhere as you shove chips in your face and cry.
I do not eat in my bed. I draw a line at that and don't
I'm
ever
just trying
suggest
to
it
give
again.
you I'm just trying to give you an example of
I do
how
it.
these Andalites might consume Ilsapar root.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Um okay, so the Animorphs after this whole outing, the Animorphs all meet up at the mall to discuss where to go from here and Jake is like, "All right, well he wants to meet me. I guess I don't know if we trust him, but we'll plan a meeting for tomorrow night." Marco does not trust Gaffinolin though, so without telling Jake, he decides to sneak in that night as a bee. Rachel goes with him because she can tell that he is scheming something, and Rachel is also completely out of control and doesn't listen to orders. So they go out to the house, and there's some bee shenanigans for a bit. Marco, as a bee, he can see the force field because it's like ultraviolet, and bees can see ultraviolet. So he flies in through a little hole, gets into the greenhouse. He checks out the house. His bug senses he can like smell Giffinolin everywhere, but he can tell that not only is Myrtle not here, but Myrtle has not been here for a long time. Ooh, so we've discovered something weird is going on with Myrtle. He's not just in
Uh-oh.
hiding, he's not here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Buzzy
Yeah.
buzzy.
Jake says he has to get home because his mom's cooking one of his favorites for dinner.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Oh, God.
What's one of his favorites?
I swear to God they've talked about Jake's favorites before. They fucking love Jake's little good boy suburban home life.
It's got to be like meatloaf or macaroni and
It's
cheese or
gotta be
something.
right. Meatloaf, yeah, sounds right. If it was Axe, it would be, as Jake, would be Cassie's dad's chili.
Right. Oh yeah. I like that that's how they didn't write a specific food. My mom's cooking one of my favorites tonight. That's not how
Yeah,
people talk.
yeah.
Go.
Listen, he's got to explain because he's like, listen, it's not that I am blowing you off to go eat meatloaf. It's that if I didn't show up, my
Right,
parents
right.
they would wonder, and Tom, he might wonder too, and he's a yerk, so I gotta go.
And if the Yerk ate more of my meatloaf than I got, well, that would just be a war crime, wouldn't it? Marcho and Rachel are a great pair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She loves working with him. She kind of makes an excuse to hang out with him.
Uh-huh.
She plays it off like, oh, it's for the mission. We got to work together. But clearly she just wants to spend time with him.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Marco's
course.
a little bit out of control in this book.
Is he?
Well, not like Rachel's out of control, but like in the sense that there's quite a few things that he does quite a few times, kind of without permission. Like in the beginning, where they're like, let's just go follow this guy instead of checking in with Jake. Or here, where he's like, I'm going to go do a solo mission without checking in with Jake. Like he's kind of, he's out of control in the way where he's very personally controlled, but he's kind of just doing his own thing.
Well, he's had a
Whatever he
taste
thinks
of
is
power
best.
now from when Jake was gone. And he's like, I can handle this shit. I don't need him.
I'm just trying to give you ways Marco and Rachel might be similar here.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Like
I mean,
maybe Marco might be getting a little Rachel-ish.
I already know they're soulmates. Now, unfortunately, before this mission,
Uh-huh.
Marco does not have time to practice his bee morph.
Right.
There's just no time
Yeah.
to spend approximately 2 minutes,
Yeah.
be a bee for, let's say, 10, 20 minutes, and then turn back. There's no time to do it. He has to do it right here for the first time. He
You
has
know,
to.
I do believe that Marco would say, "Listen, I didn't get to it. I didn't have time. Sorry, something came up. I was busy."
It's just it's just ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
What do
at
you
this
mean?
point in the book, yeah.
just
And
just
isn't yeah, like they don't even have to do that to lose control. It could be like, yeah, it was easy to control, and then I was near the hive, so it was hard to control because
yeah.
it was a
Or
bee.
just don't bring it up. Don't try to
Yeah,
tell me there's no time. Yeah, there is. Get out of here. Uh, now we get to
buzzcocks.
the bees. Of course, we compare them to ants,
Yeah, they
which
say
I
it's not
like.
as bad.
Right, I like
Yeah.
that 40 books in, there's still nothing as scary as an ant.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the end all be all. Even from last book too. Like we didn't talk about ants for a while, but we're bringing the ants back.
Yeah. The ants are the worst. Fucking who cares about getting controlled by a yerk?
Yeah, don't give a shit.
Yeah,
It,
it's not the ants.
and the bees also, it struck me, in addition to ants, they're kind of like helmicrons.
That's sort of true. Yeah.
They all serve. Well, it's kind of like the opposite. It's not one man and a lot of women, but
Well,
it
yeah,
is
it is.
one woman.
Yeah.
But
It would be a lot of women and a couple of lazy men.
but I thought no, but in bees there's one queen bee,
Right. And
and
most
then
of the workers are female.
oh they are.
Yeah, males, I don't
I
know about
forgot you know
honeybees in
everything about
particular.
bees.
Yeah, usually in these kinds of things, the males are just like lazy good for nothings that kind of drift around and then mate and then die. And the
I,
workers are all women and
they
don't mate.
probably explained this in Bee Movie. I just don't
They
remember.
probably did, yeah.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
sounds like a fucking yeah, a good bit for Seinfeld. There is a difference in writing here when they're doing it because it's all like, oh, I will serve the queen for the hive, blah blah blah, but it's not. You don't have the ant thing where everything's written out like instructions and there are no pronouns because ants aren't
Mm.
woke. So like we're just comparing it to ants still, how it's not as bad. There's a bit
Yeah.
where he says it's kind of like communism, and I'm not entirely sure Gina Cascone understands what communism is, but
that is an interesting part. I was sort of trying to figure out what the idea behind that section was.
yeah,
He says, I mean, Castro's like a king when you think about it. Are we just supposed to think Marco's stupid? Is this a dig on communism or what?
yeah.
Like, just what? I don't know what this is.
It legit feels like an American saw a bunch of Soviet propaganda about how it's like all for the people and not the individual and was like, oh, that's just how it is over there. Everybody has subsumed their individuality to the cause, which is pretty similar to just looking at American media and being like, everyone over there is a hardcore jingoist who doesn't care about anything except the flag. And it's like, that's not really,
True.
you can't just like look at the propaganda and assume that's how it is.
Is Marco Cuban?
No. Fuck. They did give his mom's like
Is he Puerto
actual.
Rican?
It might be Puerto Rican. I don't remember, but they did
Also,
give it. It's not Cuban.
right before this communist part, Rachel calls a honeybee stupid. Marco says, sorry, but I'm not sure I'd call the bee stupid. You need individuality and sentience to be stupid, don't you? As compared to smart or silly or whatever. I don't. I just doesn't strike.
Yeah.
I just don't think Marco would
Yeah.
say this.
Yeah.
It's
No.
very weird.
I didn't really think of it, but as soon as you started saying it out loud, I was like, this is a Tobias line.
Yeah, it's weird.
Or maybe Cassie, yeah. It's not Marco.
It's very. I thought it was very strange. But then there's a scary thing that tries to eat him. Right.
Yeah, there's a robber fly. It's fucked up. I do like it whenever they're doing some crazy sci-fi plot, and then some just totally normal, benign Earth thing happens, and it's the most fucked up thing
Yeah,
that
that
happens to them.
hasn't. I feel like that has been happening not as much lately. So
Yeah, it's nice to see it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I do. The use of the morph in this book is a little bit. I mean, I don't know if I'd say classic, but like relative to this season,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because it's like it's kind of gimmicky, but in a good way, right? Where it's like, yeah, like I understand why you use it. They see that it can get in. They have a use for it because it can see the ultra, like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense they thought to use it. It wasn't just like Cassie saw a documentary and threw something out, right? It's a natural progression to it. It makes sense why it can get in. Bugs can see like different wavelengths, so that all makes sense. And the bee thing, it's a unique thing. It's relevant. It's like a mid book thing instead of just being like, do it in the first chapter and we're done with it. Yeah, I don't know. Because
yeah.
like if I compare it to the other books this season, the orca and the cheetah were just like throw it out in chapter 1 and be done with it. 38 didn't have morphs. 39 is all about the Buffy human, but like the fact that Cassie turned into a buffalo kind of didn't matter. So it's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree. It does feel more classic in that sense, and it's not like a bee. They've done bugs before. It's not anything, but it's still kind of interesting, and it's not like a
Hmm.
Cape buffalo. It's not like some. It doesn't feel like they're digging like, what haven't we done yet? Oh Christ! Like it feels like, oh yeah, there should be a bee book probably. Yeah, why not? It's
I
fine.
don't know if a Cape Buffalo is digging that hard, but you know.
It is if you're not a freak. Yeah. Okay, can we go to the next section?
Yeah, so okay, so they that whatever. They find out Myrtle's whatever. He's not there. Something's up. And all right, they meet up again at the barn to discuss what Marco has found after Jake is done being mad at him and all that. Um Axe is sure that Myrtle is a real person who really existed and is a real pilot, so that something's up. And he also realizes that Gaffinolin must have Sula's disease. Uh, so Sula's disease is a degenerative genetic disease that progressively causes like extreme pain in the joints and blindness and is eventually fatal. Um, and the reason he figures this out is not only has he been showing some signs, but also Ilsapar root can ease the pain of Sula's disease. So because Sula's disease is genetic, the only way to cure it is to become a nothlit of another Andalite. Um, but this is like a cowardly thing, right? It's morally wrong. Andalites just don't do it. But they figure probably what he's up to is that he wants Jake to show up so that he can acquire him and become a Jake Nothlit. And Marco suspects that maybe he killed Myrtle and put out the tape to lure in the other Andalites. And Jake's like, fuck it. There's no point guessing. We're just gonna have to show up and be ready for whatever happens. So we get our first little reveal here with the Sula's disease.
Yeah, another wacky Andalite disease.
This is a genetic one.
Oh, that makes it less wacky?
Yeah, it's just a degenerative genetic disease. This is a
You're
thing.
you're a degenerative genetic disease.
Do you think
No.
maybe I'm reaching because of the whole gay subtext? Is
Uh-oh.
Sula supposed to be AIDS?
Oh boy, I
It's
don't
like this
know.
incurable disease that's like really nasty and like slow long term progression.
Sure, why not?
I
Sure it
was just
is, yeah.
wondering.
It is. I think it
I'm
is.
wondering if maybe it was.
Is this a
Uh,
thing that I'm just another reason that I'm stupid? But Axe refers to it. He calls it a genetically programmed disease. Is that the lexicon you would use? It feels like
I don't think I would say that, but I don't
that
know if
made
it's
me think.
wrong.
That makes it sound intentional, like someone programmed him with it to me. But maybe that's medical jargon that I don't know.
It is an odd choice of words. I'll
Like I
give you
was
that for
confused
sure.
by it at first. I was like, "Huh?
Hmm.
Like who was? Is this like a like a eugenics thing or something?" Like I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Hmm.
Anyway, but that's not. That's whatever. Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's a little funny that Ipspilar roots I mean, they also
Yeah.
are just delicious, apparently. So
Yeah. I mean, this is why I was thinking Ilsapar it's
it's
medical
weed.
marijuana, right?
Yeah, right.
He's taken the weed so it doesn't hurt so bad. And Axe that this explains also why Gaff shows up. He's like, "Hey Axe, you want to get high?" And Axe is like, "Oh fuck yeah, you know it, bro."
Man, has
God
Axe had
damn.
weed yet? Imagine Axe and Human Morph getting high and having Cinnabon.
Oh man, Axe, you don't even know how good Cinnabon can be.
He's fucking watching these messages baked with Cinnabon around him.
This is the fan art right here.
He would be like, fuck it, I'm a Nothlit, fuck off, this
Yeah,
is it for me.
smoking on that Ilsapar. Oh my gosh. Um, Marco's pretty cold here. I think.
Mm,
I think
what's
it.
he do?
I don't know. He's like going straight to the. He probably killed Myrtle and is
Oh, yeah.
fucking up. Marco spends a lot of this book being pretty like, I don't. I don't trust this guy. I don't trust any of this. Everybody's gonna betray you at the drop of a hat because that's what I would do.
Yeah, I did have to read that part a couple times to sort of understand what even he thought the plan was. I
Hmm.
found it a little bit confusing. I was like, he made the tape of his buddy and put it out. I don't know,
Hmm.
just the way they did it, the way he said it, I was confused at first. But
Gotcha.
and also, I guess because it didn't. It didn't really make sense to me. I guess
Hmm.
because I part of it is Gaff. The idea that Marco's putting forth, which I guess we're kind
Hmm.
of supposed to entertain, is that he purposely leaked a tape of an Andalite to attract other Andalites so that he could acquire one,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But does he even? So he knows, he thinks, as far as he knows, I guess I don't know how he's getting this info. I guess he's got computer equipment. He's like wiretapping the Yerks or something. He's
Hmm.
aware there's Andalite bandits and that there's Visser 3.
Hmm.
But as far as he would know, like, that's it.
Yeah.
I guess I guess it's made clear later on, but at this point I was still confused about, like, how much does he know? Also, if he knows that there's Andalite bandits, if he is using tech to find that out, shouldn't
Hmm.
he also probably know they're not Andalites or something?
Only if he's as smart as Visser 1. He might not be.
He's
Visser
smarter
3
than
never
Visser
figured it out.
3. He's smarter than Visser 3. He has to be. Does he know about chi?
No, no, no. Nobody knows about Chi except the
Oh,
Animorphs.
I also didn't even. This is coming up, but I'll just say it right now: is that they
Sure.
they introduced Tobias to him,
Hmm.
and the way Marco says it is just like, "Oh yeah, we also explained Tobias and how he can morph." I'm
That is
like,
a good. Yeah.
they really just gloss right over again.
Yeah.
Having to explain to an Andalite that there's an Elemist.
That is probably one of the things that's better. Just don't even say you explained to Tobias. Just
Yeah.
just ignore it. Don't worry about it. Just fucking don't worry about it.
It's funny, but so maybe I'm making it out to be more convoluted than it really is. But
Hmm.
I was
Yeah.
just sort of like a little bit in the dark as to exactly who, which maybe you're supposed to be like, who is this
Hmm.
Gaff guy? Like, what does he know?
Hmm.
What are his, other than I want to help Myrtle? He doesn't even seem to like want to take down the Yerks. Like, he doesn't
No,
give a
he doesn't.
shit.
No, he does not.
But that just seems completely antithetical to every other Andalite especially in the military we've ever
Right.
met.
Yes, these Andalite. Yeah, no, they are not.
I
So
guess I didn't think they spent enough. Like, that's an interesting
okay.
angle, but it didn't
Hmm.
feel like they were making that the angle. It just felt like, that's just a thing too. I don't know. Like,
Interesting.
I wish
Yeah, I
somebody
mean
would have commented on it or something.
I guess that is fair. I mean, like to me that works perfectly. We should probably just do this next part because it's relevant to
Sure.
like all of this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Um, All right, so they do meet up with Gefinelin the next day. Jake's there as a human. The others sneak in as bees.
That's
And
just
Jake shows up. He's like, "Hi, it's me, Jake. I'm Ax's prince." And Gaff is like, "Oh, why don't you demorph, Mr. Prince?" And things get like a little tense. There's like a standoff, and the other Animorphs all show up in battle morphs. And they accuse him of wanting to morph Jake, and Gaff gets like super offended because that is, turns out, totally wrong. That's not what he's trying to do. Um, so the final reveal, the actual what's been happening, he does have Sula's disease. He is slowly dying. He will be dying soon. Uh, but what happened is that the Yerks found and captured Myrtle a while ago. But they don't care about infesting him because he's a Vehicle and he can't morph. They wanted to go capture Gefinelin, but they don't care about him either because he has Sula's disease. He's going to die soon. He's also worthless to them. So, the Yerks have blackmailed Gaff, and they said, "We will return Myrtle if you give us a healthy, morph-capable Andalite." So, Gaff was planning to trade Jake for Myrtle. That was his plan. He wanted to save Myrtle. And the other Animorphs are like, "Listen, you know what? We will go rescue Myrtle with you. We'll all go. We'll get him back. No problem. Right? We got you, bro." So, okay. And we're going to talk about the motivations here.
yeah. I don't know. So
Yeah. So Gefinelin, he is dying,
where
and
do I
he is
start?
dying soon.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Like,
the how we know how soon? We think months.
I think it's probably months. I do think the heavy implication is it's way worse than it looks. Right?
Mhm.
That the little shudders are like, he's a total badass and he does not react to pain. He is in constant pain all the time, but he is not showing it except during those little spasms. There's all the scenes where it's like, I didn't even realize Marco was human, even though I was standing right next to him. I fought Axe and thought he might be Visser 3 because he is half blind. He is like dead man walking right now. He does not have long to live, I think. That is my impression of this.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, he has devoted himself to Myrtle because he is in love with Myrtle. Myrtle lost his tail, and he's like, "Oh no, poor Myrtle. He's a Vehicle now. I have to care for him, and I love my lover." Um, but now Myrtle has been kidnapped, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Witcher
Does this
3.
work for you? It works for me.
It's just very complicated, I think. It's just like there's a lot of pieces here. Because again, it's like for me, I'm still reeling from the fact that there are Andalites that have been living here this whole time. Like that's still
You just need to get over that one.
I can't because I learned it 50 pages ago. Okay?
You
Like I'm
just
still
got to get past it.
at this point in the book, I'm still processing that. So it's like you have that, and then Visser 3 had to find them
Hmm.
and like make this deal with them, and then also kidnap one, and then also one of them has this disease, and then he's also like, so he's playing the Animorphs or he's not. There's just a lot of stuff, a lot of balls in the air
Hmm.
that I'm just kind of going like, I don't know that I fully grasp some of them.
Would it
Like,
work better for you if you had fewer, like, a lot, like, less time in the mystery and speculation part? Because, we do get the whole thing where it's like, okay, what's he doing? Is he working with Visser 3? Was the tape put out as a trap? We don't know. Ah, we figured out Sula's. Okay, he's trying to do the thing where he morphs Jake, whatever. No, that's not what he's doing. He's actually doing this other thing with Myrtle.
yeah,
Like, if we took out some of that and we're just like, what's he doing? What's
yeah,
he
because
doing? I see he's doing the thing with Myrtle.
I think that's part of it. Because also they're putting forth their own theories, so I like
Hmm.
have all this shit in my head that I'm like trying to figure out. Wait, which one is real and which one? Also, I'm like, I don't know. At some points, I was confused. Like, hold on, which one of them can't morph? Oh yeah, right. He can. He's a person. I don't remember which one's which. There's just a lot of Andalite shit going on.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, that's
yeah,
just you being racist, not knowing which one's which.
yeah. I mean, yes, they do. They look similar. I'm also look. Hey, look, here's some more questions for you
Uh-huh.
that no one will like.
Oh boy.
How come the Chi never knew about these Andalites? Now, you can tell me the Andalites didn't find out about the Chi, but the Chi have all kinds of tech. I feel like they should know about this. Better question.
I do
Why
have an
didn't...
answer to that question, though you're not going to like the answer to it.
Okay, go ahead and answer it for me then.
Two possible answers. One is the Chi are stupid. There's all kinds of Yerk plans that they don't know, even though they've infiltrated the Yerks. The other one is they do know, and they just didn't bother to tell the Animorphs because they didn't, or like, fuck, they never asked.
Okay, sure. I'm fine with that. How about this one?
Sure.
How about this one?
Okay.
Why didn't the Valik or the Helmicrons find these Andalites using their morph tracking tech?
So the Valik wouldn't have because well, no, that's not true.
Yeah, he morphs every fucking day.
Yeah, that's true. They wouldn't have found Myrtle.
No, they wouldn't have found Myrtle.
Also, I think the Helmicrons could track you if you were morph capable, whether you were morphed or not.
Yeah, that was the premise, at least in the last book. Wasn't it? Or no, it wasn't. They just flopped it. That's what it was.
They might have flopped it. Yeah, actually.
I don't know
about that. Anyway, whatever.
But so, okay, just another...
Sure.
I'm asking... This is, again, part of the problem of me not grasping. It's just because all these things are in my head right now. Of like, how does this make sense? How do I square this all away with everything I knew previously? It's just a lot of information for me to take in.
Yeah, there are definitely there's a lot of times in Animorphs where K. Applegate just is like, I'm telling a story, I don't remember what the fuck I wrote or if it makes sense. Fuck it, like when Tobias's wing just didn't heal from morphing for no reason.
Is
for
this
like
also,
half a book.
Is this the first time we've heard about an Andalite who couldn't morph?
Sort of. It's the first time we've heard about a specific Andalite, but when Rachel was like allergic to crocodiles, Axe has talked about like morphing allergies. I think that was for specific morphs, but it doesn't like it's not necessarily a thing to be like some bodies might just reject it. That seed I think is sort of planted.
Okay, well it felt new to me. He's like a squib basically.
Yeah, he's a squib. That is one thing to think about though, is that like if you know you can't morph, you're like really like that's got to be fucked up, right? Where you're just like, okay, so if that guy loses his tail, he'll just morph it back. But it'll be fine.
Am I wrong? I got the impression I thought that in the military, most Andalites don't morph.
Yeah, but they can.
They can do it. I wasn't sure.
They all had to train. That's why. Yeah.
I get it. It just feels like I don't remember any Andalite battles in another book where they were like, "Oh, let me morph real quick to heal my."
Yeah, they don't do that,
foot.
But they can.
All right.
They all have to train it. That's why Axe has a Caffet bird.
Okay. I couldn't remember exactly how widespread it is, but again, it just felt like that's one other thing on the pile of like, and here's another thing: some Andalites can't morph because
you just need to.
If they could, there wouldn't be a story.
Forget about all the details that have come up in this series and be like, listen, if you were making this, you would straighten it all out. But that doesn't mean you would fix this story. It might mean you would throw out all those other stories because they weren't that good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, a lot of so often I feel like even in this episode I said I feel like the fix can be there just should have been more of a lead into these things. Like, why are you throwing all of this at me now? Well, because you just thought of it. That's why. But it's like,
and there's only so much you can do about that. If you're saying like I want to do like an episodic story of the week thing, and I'm fucking 40 books in, at a certain point you are going to run into trouble with like, I want to make I have this cool new idea for a story. How do I make it fit all of these books of lore that I was making up the whole time? Whatever. It's just a book I'm trying to do stories of the week. Fuck off. If I were making it into one coherent, like, arc plot thing, you would go back and edit it. But that's not how this was produced. It's not how any of it was made.
Well, or the other thing that obviously they couldn't do is, it could just be twice as long. And that would probably solve a lot of my problems if there was just more time spent letting the book breathe instead of, but...
The problem is then that all the bad books would also be twice as long.
Well, only make the good ones longer.
Yeah, maybe put out a book every other month.
Maybe make this the Megamorphs. I don't know. Um, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like for me, it does work. For
I'm
me,
not.
I
Yeah.
like the relationship between Myrtle and Gefinolin. I understand Gefinolin's idea of like I'm dying very soon and I have to reassess what's important to me, and what's important to me is my lover, my gay lover who has been severely injured to the point where he will be isolated from society, and fuck it, I'm done. Like I'm not doing this fight anymore. I'm going and living a normal life in a house and taking care of him. Like I get that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not like sitting here reading this going like, this doesn't make sense. This is stupid or anything like that. It's more. There's just more. Just
Yeah.
it feels like
You're
there's
just
just
sitting there saying it.
there's just like a layer that I'm not quite. I'm just kind of like, okay, so they're telling me that he did this because of that. Okay, I guess. It just
Mhm.
doesn't feel like it hits me the way they want it to be like, oh, so that's what he was doing. Well, of course, it all makes sense. It was just kind of
Mhm.
like, I guess that's okay. If you say that's what he's doing, all right, I believe
Gotcha.
you.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. Like, despite liking this book, it is, uh, in between rereads of this series, it's not that uncommon for me to be like, I don't remember the exact plot of the gay Andalites book. I just remember they're gay Andalite lovers. So I see where you're coming from in terms of like maybe it's a little bit the way it's presented, it's convoluted because the actual story of what's happening is very simple, I think. Uh, so I could see like you present it in this weird way, you put in all these extra details you don't need, and it's
Yeah,
kind of odd.
like the important beats are we discovered the two Andalites. He wants to protect the one and from Visser 3.
Hmm.
That's kind of and you throw in the bigot stuff. And that's kind of all
Hmm.
you need. Like even I mean, I guess you don't
I
really need
think
the
I
disease.
think the disease is important.
Well,
I
it's
think
kind of
it works for these guys.
for
I
the
think these
end.
guys work so much better when they're like star-crossed lovers too. It's like he's been shunned from society and he's dying type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he could have just gotten killed in battle or something. That would have been good if he got like killed by Visser 3. That would have been real sad.
I guess, but
Then
like
you could have
also
had
if
him
you
actually
are
kill
trying
someone.
to do, I mean, if you're trying to do something, I feel like it doesn't hit as hard if you have one guy who's like, oh, that's the vehicle, oh, poor him, and then another guy, that's the badass, awesome guy who everything is great about him. It's kind of better if they're both tragic figures in some sense, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
Sure. I don't know.
Definitely
Sure.
works. Um,
I'll accept it.
I do appreciate that Visser 3 also fucking hates V-Calls for no good reason because Alaran does.
Because he's not an Andalite, so
Yeah, it's like, oh, they didn't want to. He can't morph. Okay, sure. And he doesn't have a tail blade. Okay, neither does a human. So we're just
yeah.
not going to infest him. He's worthless.
It
That's
is
definitely Visser 3 being like, oh, a vehicle. Ugh,
it is pretty
ugh.
stupid. Like you could even if you somehow just like took him and used him like for bait or something, or like you could use him as a ploy, like contact the bandits, be like, I have one of your own.
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah, you
you
just got to
know,
hide his tail.
yeah, like really,
It's not
there's
that hard.
no use for him. You're just like, get out of my sight.
I think it's like at the beginning of the book too. They're like, yeah, he might still have information. Yeah, he is going to have information. He'll still know how to like pilot ships, and he'll know how to like train guys. And
Right.
yeah, it's you don't like it's still got to be, other than the fact that you can't infiltrate human society or Andalite society because you're not allowed out in public. But other than the fact that you can't infiltrate, it's got to be better than a human body. You can still run around and stuff.
Yeah, right. I would think. I mean, they don't have like spikes. He
Better
can hold a gun
eyes.
still.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a bit silly, but whatever.
It definitely is. Yeah, I mean, like, there's like a big Axe confrontation part here with Axe. Like, this is, I think, where we get one of our really big Axes, like, all in on this fucking, vehicle shit. This is where Tobias is all like, Axe, Myrtle's his shorm. Stop saying shit about people who are fucked up. It hurts my heart.
They JO together just like us when we're
Yeah.
Shorm.
This is where Rachel's like, "Fuck off, Marco. You were calling that coma guy a carrot."
Yeah, can you remember Hewlett Aldershot? Who was that again?
Yeah, Hewlett Aldershot the Third. That was the guy from the beginning of book 18 that doesn't matter. Yeah,
I
the
can't.
book. Remember in the book where they went to Lyra? Remember how there was like half a book before they
Oh,
went to Lyra, and that plot didn't matter because
yeah.
they didn't go to Lyra? Yeah, it
What
was
a
that guy.
weird. That's again. This is part of why I feel like this is something from the. I mean, it must have been in the outline, but it feels like a ghostwriter's thing to pick out something that specific from so long ago,
Hmm.
and be. It feels like they had something to say about it. All to me, I don't. But I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Which
Yeah,
not to say that they shouldn't have something to say about it, but
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Axe has got some cold lines here where they're like, "Axe, this is fucked up, man. If you're going to be talking like that, you can't be one of us." And Axe says, "I do not and have never pretended to be human." Axe is yeah.
yeah. And Cassie's
Um,
backs Marco up by saying, Marco's right. He was just joking, and jokes are fine. They
yeah,
both say
Cassie
it.
understand. Marco's a good guy.
Yeah,
He's a good guy. There's nothing
he's a
wrong with him.
good guy.
I do think so. Okay, the thing, if I were to like pick a reason why, I don't know if Marco's the best character for this book, but he's at least interesting. Um, I think that Marco is interesting because he's coming into this with a lot more like distrust and like basic humanity isn't necessarily good enough kind of thing. Right? Like there's this whole bit in here, they just found
Hmm.
out that Gefinelin might have been planning or was planning to betray them to the Yerks, but he's doing it for love and they're star-crossed, and the Animorphs are all just like, well, of course we're going to help him, right? Like it's the right thing to do. There's no like conflict. Of course we're going to help him, except for Marco, who's just like, yeah, but like he's not done betraying us. I would still betray us in his position given the option. And like what are we getting out of helping Myrtle? We're rescuing him to go do what? Live in the house? Like why are we is this a good plan? Marco's got that kind of thought process which puts him at odds with the other characters. And that at least makes him interesting here for me.
He has this weird turn where he talks about how he's like the tough guy who does whatever it takes kind of thing.
He's he redoes the ruthless speech from book 30.
But I kind of felt like, is that who you are? Yeah, I guess. I guess it sort of is. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
don't know.
think he's getting there. I think that Marco is sort of undergoing his own little. He's getting there. He's not the same guy he was in book 15, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. He's not. You know what? He's not that funny in this book.
That's true. He's not that funny in this
That
book.
feels
This
bad
is
to say.
one of the least funny Marco books.
Yeah, he doesn't He doesn't even really make any jokes. I just this doesn't feel like a Marco book at all to me. It's weird.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like a strange choice. And I do get some of the reasons why you might do it. There are some things that interest me, but it is a strange choice for sure.
Maybe Kay Applegate had like a handful of outlines and she just let him pick one and like you happen to get a Marco, just sure you can do that one, throw it in there.
Hmm.
I
Or
don't
like
know.
she had some ideas for how Marco would run this, but the ghostwriter just didn't have Marco's voice down or something, so it
Yeah.
didn't really potentially come together. All right. So,
I just want to talk
yeah. Oh
about
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this one little detail of we learned something about how thought speech works.
Well, we learned something about thought speech between Myrtle and Gefinelin specifically.
Well, yeah, but it sounds like the implication is
Uh-huh.
that the longer and deeper relationship you have with someone, the greater the distance of your thought speech.
Yeah, so there's a whole thing where they're like, we can hear each other's voice as long as we're like on the same planet. We can't hear words, but like I can sense his presence or something. Um, Kind of Darth Vader forcey
Yeah, it kind
thing.
of feels like magic, you
It,
know?
yeah, honestly, what it feels like to me is fan fiction. They love each other so much that their thought speech, they can talk to each other as long as they're on the same planet. They can tell that.
See, now
the
that
other
would
ones.
be cool. Imagine if, like, and there is one of these, so maybe they probably didn't do this though because it's too cool. An
Mhm.
Animorphs RPG, like a tabletop game, where like as you level up, you can thought speak farther distances because your crew works together better or something. That'd be
Sure.
cool.
I think you have to be true soulmates to do that, but
Get out of here.
so in the game you'd still be allowed to do it, but only if you make out in real life.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we should play that.
Oh, yeah, as a joke. Kind of
Yeah.
funny, right? Yeah.
Yeah, what if our characters were
Yeah.
Myrtle and Gaff?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be kind of funny.
Then we'd have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, what else could you do?
Yeah. And what if you were Gaff and then like there while we were having sex, you were like, "Oh, you dirty fucking vehicle, you fucking piece of shit." And I was crying.
And everybody just clicked off. It's okay. We're past the 2 hour. You're in it now. There's nothing you can do. You've listened for too long to stop now.
That's right. I want to play a game. The podcast in your
Are you,
ear is 4 hours long. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I decided it was a saw trap, and
you're getting giddy over there.
if you try to turn off the
Too
podcast,
excited.
your fingers get blown off or
You're just
something.
you're all worked up. You need to calm down.
I'm thinking about hot, dirty, disgraceful Andalite sex. Okay,
Well,
just
now that you put it that way.
fucking going at it.
All right. Well, they're all going to go rescue Myrtle, who is for once not being kept in the York pool. He's being moved around constantly for security purposes.
Some fucking yerks on driving duty for
Yeah,
that job.
driving him around. But they figure out where he is since Geffinelin can like sort of hear him. They figure out he's like in this old train yard. They all fly out there and they find the truck that he's being transported in, and Myrtle can tell they're close. He's like, "No, don't go back. I'm not worth it." And there is a huge fucking fight with like tons and tons of Hork-Bajir. Geffinelin gets to do some fighting. He gets to cut through a steel door and be kind of a badass. Whatever. It's a long ass fight. A ton of shit
Mhm.
happens, and they rescue him.
Yeah,
Another part where I think the book drags a bit. The fight scene here is 3 chapters long, which it really did not need to be.
yeah. I
It's
won't
not a bad
say.
fight scene. It's fine. It's just like, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I agree. Like I don't think it's bad, but I also have nothing to say about it, except
Yeah.
one thing. Because I was kind of literally at the earlier in the book, I said I feel like it's been a long time since Rachel's done elephant morph. And
Mm,
she brings it back in this scene, which I was like, oh, they heard my prayers. But I did feel like she's done bear a lot lately. I feel like we used to see elephant all the time from her.
yeah.
It hasn't been happening.
Yeah, elephant's bigger and smashier. I think the bear is just meaner. The elephant's too nice and she doesn't like inhabiting that brain.
Yeah, yeah. Also, there's a quote I really like, which I
Uh-huh.
submit might rank up there in the realm of tail feathers grow back.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, give it to me.
In the
Oh, I
train
know what
yard.
it is, actually.
Yeah,
Or no,
do
maybe
you?
I don't. What is it? Tell me.
It's in the train yard,
Yeah.
and Marco is like trying to get away from some Hork-Bajir, finds a place to climb up, and he says, "Ladders lead to places where you are not."
Yes, yes.
Was that the line?
That was not the line, but if I'd
Okay.
remember, like when I read it, I noted that line, and if I'd remembered it now, I would have picked it over the other one.
Ladders
I was
lead to
thinking when
places
they
where you
asked
are
Myrtle if he was okay, and he said, "I am as I was."
not. That's pretty
Not
good
as
too.
good as ladders lead to places you are not, but
What a funny thing to say. All right, but yeah, I mean, other than that, yeah, it's like there was a big fight. Like, all right,
yeah.
cool. Is this-
Um,
didn't they abandon David in a train yard?
I
Or
mean,
is
they
that
no,
a
they
dump
might
or
have
something?
I think they fucked him up in the construction site, but they abandoned him on a little island off the coast.
Okay. I thought maybe he might be lurking around here somewhere.
Well,
Marco mentions rats, so it got me
he's
thinking.
lurking somewhere. You
He's
just gotta
lurking.
go find Rat Island.
Come on, Drode, go find David. You're killing me here.
That can be your fanfic.
Drode hasn't shown up once so far this season.
Yeah, you're right. No
We got
Drode yet.
Megamorphs next week. They better give me some fucking Drode. I'm hungry for Drode, man.
What if there's no more Drode this season?
I will literally, if the Drode never shows up again, I'll lose my shit. I will fucking lose it. All right.
All right. So they rescue Myrtle. They help them get back home. There's another like big blow up with Axe being an asshole. There's a little bit of a resolution for that, but yeah, Finland's still dying. Myrtle's like, now it's time for us to change places. I'll take care of him the way he took care of me until he dies. And in the last scene, Marco goes and visits Myrtle on his own, and he's like, "Hey, man, when Gaff dies, you shouldn't just stay here in solitude all alone on an alien world. You should like come say hi. We'll like come play video games or whatever, because that sucks." And that's the end. The one thing about Myrtle here, doesn't get a lot of screen time or book time, page time.
I like that, page time.
Yeah, not a lot.
We don't get to really know Myrtle at all. No.
Yeah, like this is the thing that I think is worth thinking about. You know, I'm sure if you go back to the 90s, this is probably still like great, but like if you're looking at it in a more modern context, you kind of come in here and you're like, this is a good story in terms of like being about, okay, bigotry, what might it look like, what does it do to people? It's bad. But what it's not is good disability representation, because the disabled character is not represented. They're literally not here. Like Myrtle is just not present throughout the work. He gets barely any lines, almost never there. Like I said, it's good because you really do empathize with him. You understand where he's coming from. He doesn't just come off as some poor loser. He seems like a legit nice dude, and it's cool. You can see how he's sort of internalized this societal hatred for himself, but you can also see how he really appreciates Marco reaching out to him. But again, he's not here. That is one thing that if I were to be like, what is the number one thing that would make this book better? It would be like, what if we actually saw the gay Andalites interact?
Yeah, and I think some of this comes down to the failings of the format, that we must rigidly stick to the one character POV. Because if it wasn't that, we'd definitely have some scenes, at least I would hope, with what Myrtle's up to or something. I mean, I guess they could have at least given us a little more time at the end, or rescued him a little earlier.
There are some things, like you can like,
cut out 2 chapters of fight scene.
Right. You can bring all those criticisms together, right? Some of the chapters that drag don't have to be there. What if you made the overall plot a little less mysterious and convoluted, and more like they meet Gefinolen and Myrtle is already there, but he doesn't want to talk to them and acts as a bigot, but then they meet him and then he gets kidnapped and then they got to get him back, and they don't do all the, like, that would make it probably less weird bullshit for you because you'd get it all up front kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, just, Gaff should have just told them all this shit immediately.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that he was just straight up like, well, fuck, man, the only way I'm getting Myrtle back is if I kidnap one of these guys, because I guess he didn't trust them he didn't trust them to work with him. To be fair, if he thinks they're Andalite bandits, there's a good chance that he would just be like, so what am I going to do? Ask the Andalites to go rescue the Vikol? They're not going to do that. They hate him. They don't understand our love.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys. I'll just kidnap one.
I mean, it makes sense when you say it.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, the closest they come to saying it, there is a bit where he's just like, you don't understand. Nobody understands. Yeah. He's very angsty.
Now, Axe does have kind of redemption is too strong of a word, but he does sort of like come around a little bit, right?
Sort of. And I do like the way that he comes around, not as like aspirational, but as like illustrative.
Hmm.
Because, like, after fighting with him forever, they get Axe to, like, look Myrtle in the eye and say, it's been an honor to meet you. I will always remember you as you were, which is still a total dick
Mhm.
thing to say. Right. And I like that he doesn't really change. He makes like a baby step, but the baby step is still offensive and not good enough. And I like when Animorphs comes in and is like, there aren't easy solutions, right? You're not just gonna go up to a bigot and be like, did you know you're wrong? And they'll be like, oh, I totally changed my worldview. Right. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
this is how it is. And maybe those people, not only do they not change, they might be people who you really like and are important to you. What are you going to do about that? I don't know. It's not easy. You just got to figure it out.
Yes, my friends have to deal with it constantly.
Right. Exactly.
I relate very much to Axe. Yeah, yeah, it's good that it's good. It's not bad. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
They do. I win. This is where Tobias starts to talk to Axe and be like, "I'm a Nothlit. Like I'm a freak. You know
Yeah.
why are what's normal even mean?" And Axe, like that's kind of what gets Axe to say the
Hmm.
thing, but it feels like he could have drilled in a little harder on that. It's not, like I said
Yeah.
before, it seems inconsistent to me. But I guess because
Yeah.
Tobias isn't an Andalite, I guess that's what it is he
That is
doesn't.
probably part of it. He just doesn't like see the loss because he doesn't think humans are as valuable or something.
Right.
Um, no, but I do think one like big fix for this book, and I don't want to say fix because I like this book. I think it's good. But like one thing that would elevate it is if this was a Tobias book, because that would give
Yeah. Oh
Tobias a
yeah.
lot of ability to just immediately empathize with Myrtle and immediately be like, oh shit, there's a huge wedge driven between me and Axe. And one of the things that we've been complaining about is that Axe and
Yeah.
Tobias as a relationship isn't explored. This is the perfect opportunity
Boom.
to do that.
Right
Yeah.
there. Yes, I completely agree. Either Axe or Tobias. Tobias probably better,
I think it would
but
be better from Tobias. Yeah, I don't want to read a whole book of Axe just being like, yeah, but fuck them. Fuck them. They just don't understand how we are. I'd rather have Tobias angst, like, oh, what if Axe hates me? No one understands me except maybe these two.
yeah, yeah, that would have been very good. I mean, yeah, I guess we're any other specific points. I guess we're in the final stages here.
Just a couple things, because I know it's this is the closest they come to being like very explicit that it's a gay allegory. Because there's a whole thing where Axe is like, "Oh, it is not natural to show concern for a V-call," and they're like, "Oh, so friendship's not natural; it's abnormal. What is normal anyway?" And it feels like
Mm.
so very close to like that relationship isn't natural. Oh, but what is natural? What is normal? Love is love. It feels like we're really trying to take that language and superimpose it here, but without actually putting gays in the book because the publisher might not let them. They probably
If
wouldn't.
only Gene Roddenberry had Kirk kiss Sulu, then Kay Applegate would have had a gay couple in the Animorphs.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. You're
but
100% right.
but she's only as progressive as about 1969.
I mean, to be fair, I do actually think in the year 2000 you probably weren't getting away with having a gay couple.
I guess
Not
not. Well,
easily, anyway.
certainly not a gay alien couple.
Yeah. Not like gay. You could make gay couples, but they have to be like Xena gay, not like we openly and explicitly make out gay.
Sapphic.
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to say it. Um, so I think I already know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, for
Uh-oh.
from you, and if listeners wrote in from them too, but they probably won't. Mostly for liking last week's book, and then probably having contradictory feelings on this book, which I didn't. I think this book was not bad. I think it was fine. I read it. I was like, it wasn't painful. There were some good parts in it that I liked. I agree with a lot of the points that you made. Some of the things I especially didn't Like I recognized the gay couple aspect, but I certainly didn't examine it as deeply as you laid it out in this episode. So stuff like that does kind of help me appreciate it more.
Yeah, we should state for the audience that we are two cis white straight
Mm.
able-bodied men, and therefore when we talk about these issues you should be listening to us and not other
Mm.
discourse out there, because we are the ultimate authorities on these issues.
Yeah, 100%.
um yeah. Mhm.
Unfortunately, my like the thing that holds me back from being a big fan of this book is also the thing that you won't like
Uh-oh.
or be able to relate to probably. I kind of
Uh-huh.
already said it, but for me, I just feel like when you bring Andalites in. So first of all, it's everything I said about, I already had ranted about it. I'm not going to go into
Yeah.
it again, but the way that it was done, I don't love. But I also feel like I expect that Gaff and Myrtle, neither one is going to show up ever again.
No. They're
And
not
it,
story relevant. They're like Andalite culture and character relevant.
and I know that there's several. I'm sure there's plenty of books you could point to that I enjoy that are not important
Mhm.
canonically. But I think because I feel like if you're gonna introduce new Andalites, especially at this late stage of the series, it feels like I want that to matter. I want it to mean something. I want it to go forward somewhere. And it just feels like in a vacuum, it's a nice story. And maybe if I reread this, I could appreciate that better. But as I was reading it, being like, first time, here's my new Animorphs book, what's going to happen? My overall feeling at the end was like, oh, so none of that matters. They're not going to
Mhm.
help. They're not going to help with the cause. They didn't give him any of the equipment. They don't care about any of this stuff. It's just, yeah, okay, they met some Andalites and they're gone. you know?
Yeah. So you're very a Marco about this. Why are we helping this poor guy? He doesn't matter. You're not like Cassie, Rachel, Jake, or Tobias. They're like, no, of course we have to. That's the right thing.
Like,
No,
help
I
him.
I feel what you're saying. I don't feel that way about this book because I like, although you're right, it isn't necessarily plot relevant. It feels very like Andalite culture relevant, and that
Yeah,
feels
I
relevant to
do
the
like that.
overarching
Yeah.
thing. I I I I can't begrudge you saying it doesn't feel like it's moving the story forward, because like, we're gonna see when we get there, but I do know my least favorite book, the reason it's my least favorite isn't even really because of the quality so much as it's just because, like, at a certain point I hit my limit on this isn't relevant. At a certain point it's just like, I don't fucking care how good this book is. Tell me something that goddamn matters. So like, and so it might not be you. You might end up liking that book for all I know. So I can't begrudge you feeling that sort of way. I also do think I like this book. I think it's good. I really, really like what it is trying to do. And when it does it well, I think it's really, really good. I do think there are issues with it. I think that, and coming into it, I was already knowing that, like, yeah, I think I like this book, but I think something about it makes it not hit as hard as it maybe should. And I do think that some of the criticisms you brought up are illustrative to me as to why maybe it doesn't hit as hard with me as it should.
Yeah, I think I think the writing is just a little muddled in some parts, or as you said, drags in some parts.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
and some of the storytelling being convoluted too. Yeah,
yeah,
I see
yeah.
where you're coming from. Yeah, so
I do, and I only because we just talked about it last week, I pushed back on myself a little bit, going like, well, why do I, like the fucking buffa human? And
sure.
I think it's like expectations. It's a lot like what we said about Visser, is that when they're introducing a buffa human, I'm not imagining this is gonna go anywhere important.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, let me just enjoy this as a ride. And this, I feel like it should go somewhere. I want it to go somewhere. Feels like it's supposed to,
Hmm.
but it's just kind of like, some Andalites, whatever.
Fair
But
enough. And
I don't
and
know.
yeah, to be fair, I already know it's not going anywhere. When I'm reading this book, I'm like, all right, time to read about the gay Andalites. Not time to progress the plot, time to read about the gay Andalites. So
I almost also like wish. I don't know. I know that. I mean, this completely destroys the like everything in the book, but it feels like I don't know. Focus on like one of these things. Either make it about the Vekal thing, or make it about the relationship between the two of them more explicitly, and not too explicitly, but something, or make it more about the discovery of them and the ramifications of that. I feel like it's a bunch of ideas that could have been fleshed out
mm.
as their own story, but none of them really coalesced for me. But
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I do think that the VCall thing and the relationship thing do work because I think part of it is trying to use
I
like
guess it's a
disability things
metaphor,
as a
which I
I mean
mean,
it's
that's
not exactly a
problematic in its
metaphor,
own
but yes.
way.
Yeah, it's like a vehicle to talk about other similar issues that they're maybe not allowed to talk about, right?
Yeah, I guess that's
To put
probably
it
correct.
better than what I think you were saying, which is that the disability thing doesn't matter. I'm actually just talking about the gays.
Which is maybe why it's like maybe I wasn't connecting that clearly enough in my head, so I'm like, why is this like about homosexuality and disability? And it's like, well, it's kind of just about homosexuality. They just
Yeah.
like threw in the disability stuff because they couldn't talk about homosexuality.
I do think it's about both, but
I like
it's the
both.
same struggle, man. Solidarity.
Yeah, I like the angle, but it just felt like two ideas that both were like fighting with each other to be present in my mind.
Sure.
But
And you would
uh
know.
and I would and I would know. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm lukewarm on this book. Like it's all right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And listen, I suspect that if you were to find the biggest fans of this book, they would not have good reasons for liking it. So I'll just say that.
But I do kind of feel like, in hindsight, I maybe like it a little more than when I was reading it, and maybe my opinion on it could change in the future. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's try to get through this pop culture quick.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Red Lobster on all you can eat shrimp night. If anyone from Guardian or Prudential knew the truth about us, we'd never ever get health insurance, unlike today. Doesn't. I channel surfed past SpongeBob SquarePants, past Two Fat Ladies. Unsolved mysteries. Cool. At one point, Marco hums some Kid Rock.
Mhm.
Not everybody in the agency was as fair-minded as Scully or Mulder. He vows never ever to eat a Slim Jim again because his bird legs look like Slim Jims.
It's a very gross sequence, honestly.
It is
actually.
gross. I highlighted. I almost read that, but I didn't.
I
skipped
almost
it.
did too.
Yeah, it was gross. He says Axe definitely had a career as an actor alongside Gwyneth Paltrow in Shakespeare in Love. That's really, if you want to date this book, there you go, right there.
I sure do.
Those horrible magazines like The Star or Enquirer. Until Axe and I pay a visit to Batman and Robin. Wait, hold on. It's just hitting me. Is Batman and Robin, was that Gaff and Myrtle?
Yeah.
So is that another another allusion to them being gay?
Huh. I literally didn't even consider that. Interesting. All right, well.
Okay. I'll be sure to buy him a John Deere riding mower for Christmas. That's a kitchen straight out of Martha Stewart Living or House Beautiful or Architectural Digest. Okay, can I pause here to comment on... This was something I noticed a few times in the book, some of the references we've already read, but this writer did this a few times where you could have just said, it's a kitchen straight out of Martha Stewart Living.
Yeah.
It does
She
not
wants to
add
show off that she knows what
anything.
House Beautiful and Architectural Digest
Yeah,
are.
what? It's so weird. And also, Marco's like, oh, my stepmom reads those, but come on. He doesn't know the names of these magazines.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
know. It's like same thing with I channel surf past SpongeBob and Too Fat. Like, why are you... The references are needless in this book. And to that
Unlike
point,
normally, yeah.
correct. Well, it's just like you just need one. Even those horrible magazines like The Star or The Enquirer. It's just pick one.
Well, the next set here has a lot, is what I'm looking at.
In the kitchen, there's a Sub-Zero fridge, Viking cooktop and oven, Bosch dishwasher, Cuisinart, and KitchenAid mixer. Also, they've been spending too much time watching that kitchen show on the Food Network. They have paintings on black velvet sold from the trunk of an old Cadillac. He wants to ask where the crying Elvis is hung. They've got everything from Hollywood Style Report to CNN to the Bloomberg Report. Jake is browsing through the Nike store. Rachel is carrying a bag from Express and one from BB? Bebe? Don't know.
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
Jake thought a Pepsi sounded good. The shredded remains of the Cinnabon box shrank down to the size of a gummy bear. That counts, right? Gummy bear?
I looked at that because I didn't, or I shouldn't say I looked at that. I put it in here because I didn't know if it counted, but it was capitalized. I did not look it up.
Yeah, I think, I don't, maybe it shouldn't, but it was capitalized, so I wrote it. I mean, Castro's like a king when you think about it. Again, Mr. Clean or Top Job or Comet. You didn't need all three of those. Just one would have been fine. A 15-foot U-Haul truck is what Myrtle's being held in. And when he's a gorilla, Marco says, I am Kong.
Do the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot count as references, do you think?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Loch
It's
Ness
sorta like pop
Monster
culture.
is like the name. I guess Loch Ness is, but no, then we're just doing place. No, I don't
I'm
know.
not necessarily doing proper nouns. I'm doing pop culture.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
It's got to, I
Sure,
think it
fuck
has to be man-made, not something that's real.
Okay, that's fair.
Ooh, that would be a good one. They should morph into a Bigfoot in an Animorphs book. That's the fanfic I'm writing. Animorph cryptids.
That would be a good book. Bigfoot is real and I morphed him. I want that hat. Holy shit.
What? That's
Bigfoot is real and I morphed him.
All right. I know that's all I have to say. But if you want to hear more of us, you should go to our Patreon, patreon.com/theyerkyboys. This week we are doing an Animorphs draft.
Yeah, you'll
Stay
find
tuned.
out. I'll find out too. And if you have any questions, comments, you want to tell John that he's a problematic piece of shit, you want to tell me that I'm beautiful and wonderful and everything I say has enlightened you. If you have any comments, questions, whatever the hell, email us at theyerkyboys@gmail.com.
Yeah. Comments, questions, malfunctions. I used to have in high school, I had a history teacher, and that was her catchphrase. She would, after everything she did, she would say, questions, comments, malfunctions.
That's pretty funny.
I really did not like her.
I would absolutely do that if I ever had to interact with children.
But that
to
phrase
piss
has
'em
been living rent-free in my head for, 15 years, so.
Yeah. Where can people find you if they want to hear you talk about your history teacher or whatever it was?
Follow me on Blue Sky at Jonathan Estes, and follow me on my website, jonathanestes.com. I do other shit. Go check it out.
Cool. Yeah, do that. Thanks everyone for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be talking about Megamorphs 4, in which we are in black and white on the Yerky Boys.
Penguin?